Goofy Good TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yao Mina Revolution, and the lies that are being spread by people trying to scare black people to death. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Stop spreading these lies. Before we get into that, be sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Now, y'all should be ashamed of yourself trying to scare black people. That they think Jim Crow is back. The days of picking cotton is back. See what done happened. Trump is in power. Wham. Let's get into exactly what the hell is going on.
Big designation. And as we are fighting hard to get birthright citizenship or automatic citizenship for the children of illegal aliens, that's another way. It's automatic citizenship for children of illegal aliens. That's the other term that they use, which is actually more accurate, more understandable. And it's ridiculous. We're the only country that has it, and certainly the only country that has it to that extent. And it wasn't meant, if you look, it was really meant for children of slaves. This is when it happened. The children of slaves. It was not meant for everyone.
Not meant for everyone to be scamming America. It wasn't meant for you. It was meant for us. You see? Shame on black people going around, oh man, if we ain't gonna be citizens no more. Trump done revert though. We ain't got nowhere to go. We gonna go to Guantanamo Bay. Maybe we African and we can go to Africa. But Trump done we gonna show pick fields now, y'all. Lies. You should stop all the lies, read a little bit. Please don't tell me y'all been spreading these lies to y'all children. And if you've been telling your wife this type of bullshit, shame on you. If you've been telling your husband type of shit, shame on you. The man trying to work, he ain't got time to be listening to the bullshit. People, the scammers and people who've been taking all what we supposed to been getting, that shit is getting revoked. They taking away the food stuff. They been scamming. Oh man, they ain't gonna be able to scam no more.
To come into our country by airplane or charging across the borders from all over the world and think they're going to become citizens. It's not meant for that. It wasn't meant for that. And hopefully at some point the courts will understand that without having to go through a whole big deal. This was meant for the children of slaves. And look at the timing of it and you'll see. And I hope judges will understand that. And it has to stop.
It was meant for our people. I'm so glad the president is telling these people, look, it's meant for the foundational black Americans. It ain't for everybody else. Not the black who not foundational black. You see? Man, they don't want the Haitians or the people from Ethiopia. Man, look, bro. Stop the bullshit.
It's really hurting our country very badly in the coming weeks.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Dana with the Data. So today I want to talk about Donald Trump giving a specific definition of the 14th Amendment, and he summed it up in 1 minute. And yes, he said the word slaves. Tariq Nasheed, he agreed with Donald Trump.
Come on, bro.
He posted on X.
Trump into the bullshit. Nobody ever want to say. He said, look, this is for the descendants of slaves. This was just for them. America need to put this on record. It was just for them. A lot of other bullshit they've been scamming, DEI, civil rights hustle that they've been scamming for all these years. They also been stealing off our plate and pretending like we was coming up. No, everybody but us came up.
Trump said 14th Amendment was meant for children of slaves in America.
They get the citizenship here while your ass get the citizenship in Africa. You see how they work? Bye.
I 100% agree with Trump. Hashtag FBA. Yes, because we all know when Trump said slaves in America, he was talking about foundational Black Americans, American descendants of slaves, Black freedmen.
Slaves. Wait for it. Just wait. Now everybody gonna say they was saying, all of my people were slaves here too. Oh shit! Now Trump don't know he opened Pandora's box. Now everybody's gonna try to document some slavery here in America.
Yes. Saying slaves is very specific. It's saying Black Americans because that's what the 14th Amendment was for. So why are these Black liberals still losing their mind? They're still mad. Look at the comments. Wait, what slaves? The ones they tried to pretend didn't exist by erasing history from education? That selective amnesia, conveniently used when it's beneficial, is nasty work. What are you complaining about? They didn't erase it from history. Are you going to leave it up to the public school system to educate your children? You should not. I will hope not. We have another one. 1 week down, 4 more years to go. Hand over face. And we have another one. Just like he spent his entire campaign saying he didn't know anything about Project 2025, then as soon as he won, they said Project 2025 was his agenda all along. This man lies is what I'm trying to tell y'all. First of all, everybody lie. However, he wasn't lying here. He wasn't lying at the GOP retreat when he broke down a true meaning of the 14th Amendment in 1 minute. But since you guys don't want to believe Trump and he's a liar, do you believe Judge Joe Brown? Because he talked about the 14th Amendment for over an hour in his segment, Injustice for All. Take a look. A little bit bigger, but
leave it up so people can look at it at their least. Okay. But here's the preeminent thing here that you need to understand about what you're looking at. Some people want to do things yesterday, right now, immediate, instant gratification, etc. That's not how the real world works. Now, when the Civil War is over, you have the 13th Amendment that frees the slaves, all right? It makes slavery illegal except for the classic circumstance as a punishment for a criminal offense. In fact, if you're locked up, you're enslaved anyway because you don't have freedom of...
that's a shame.
You don't have the freedom to do what you want. You're subject to somebody else's absolute control. But the 14th Amendment had to deal with this case called Dred Scott, which was a horrible thing, the opinion of which was written by an idiot named Taney. And it was still good law. And it said that Negroes / former slaves could not be citizens. So the 14th Amendment wanted to address that point quickly and say, if we're going to deal with giving these people rights as citizens, we have to clarify things so there is no question the Constitution now says they are citizens if they're born here. That was dealing with this enormous trove of former slaves that had been freed thanks to the Civil War and the 13th Amendment.
There you have it. You heard it. From a judge, a retired judge who knows the law and the Constitution inside out. You could read the 14th Amendment yourself. And I love the fact that he referenced the 13th Amendment. This is why you know for sure the birthright citizenship does not apply to foreign nationals. Why? Well, parents of foreign nationals, the children of parents of foreign nationals. Why? Because the 14th Amendment came out after the 13th Amendment, which freed the slaves. First, you freed the slaves, and then you made these same slaves citizens of the then United States of America. Because this was after 1776, the Revolutionary War against Britain. And it became the United States. But it took over 100 years later, well, close to 100 years later, for them to end slavery here. And when they ended slavery, the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment said, you free slaves are now citizens of the United States. That is what the 14th Amendment is for. It says nothing about foreign nationals born on this soil or a child born to foreign nationals who are not citizens are now citizens. It doesn't say nothing like that. It doesn't allude to nothing like that. So you're mad at this man for getting up in a room full of white people now because, listen, majority of Republicans are white. That really hasn't changed. But hopefully I would love to see the Republican Party of Frederick Douglass. Yeah. But anyway, you calling this man a liar, and he did not lie. Now, in conclusion, this debate is going to go to SCOTUS. Yes, it has to. His birthright citizenship executive order was blocked by a federal judge, which is a good thing because you have to be blocked on a federal level in order for it to be petitioned to be seen in the Supreme Court. And that is exactly where this issue is going, because it has to be clarified for all you illegal foreign nationals and everybody else that's upset. It has to be clarified for the idiots to understand that birthright citizenship only applies to the enslaved people and their lineage, which would be us, FBA, ADOS, Black freedmen, Black Americans, not African Americans, no. Not Mexicans, no. Not someone south of the border, not foreign nationals, but Black Americans. Far too long, illegals have been abusing our justice system and our Constitution, and it has to stop. It has to stop. That is why I am in 1000% of Donald Trump deporting these illegal migrants, take the whole family. Yes, it has to be done. Close the border. Yes, it has to be done, because the prior administration, they were idiots. They got it confused. They thought the 14th Amendment meant for everyone. But you have these crazy Black liberals in media running around here saying, oh my God, he banned DEI. We're going back to Jim Crow. But you just had a prior administration that included foreign nationals to be protected under the 14th Amendment that was meant for enslaved Black Americans. So who's the real racist here? Who's the real bigot? Who's the liar? Anyway, that's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another video.
When Trump said Black descendants of slaves, the only fucking people with any birthright citizenship claim. That's on the record. He just said that now, so we moving on from that. Nobody else has any birthright citizenship in America but descendants of slaves. The new scam is going to be they're all going to say they was slave in America. That's a fact. That's why they're going to go with that. We shall overcome. You shine, bro. It's disgusting. All these people are disgusting, bro. My ain't your ain't. Anybody in this crowd, I'm who they is. This is disgusting. You got shoe shining at all time high. They buffing them shoes in there. They might as well just bought buffer act and they just start shining white people's shoes in there.
All right.
That's
so
the same statement.
Al Sharpton leads Costco boycott. That's what he's calling it, a boycott, right? I.e. boycott, in support of companies' controversial DEI commitment. So Reverend Al Sharpton and about 100 of his followers descended on the East Harlem Costco Saturday in support of the company's commitment to controversial diversity, equity, and inclusion practices. We're supporting those who are not rolling back DEI. This is Patricia Perry, Crisis Director for Sharpton's nonprofit National Action Network, right?
You know what?
It is.
I'm just going to call myself Dr. Cook. If Reverend, this man can go around here calling himself Reverend, then I'm just going to go around here and say, I'm Dr. Cook Figure from now. I ain't bullshit, bro, because this shit is giving me. They let this man go at this Reverend shit far too long, and then he picking up. He preaching. This man preached that George Floyd funeral. That's so disrespectful. I told people, like, that's what they get. Y'all letting this nigga stand over their body. Black people's out of their mind. They don't give a fuck about your soul. They don't give a fuck about you going to meet the Most High. They don't care who stand over you with the nonsense. That doctor, they got to address me as Dr. Cook from now on, bro. I'm not bullshitting. All these people, anybody call this man Reverend, they damn sure better call me Dr. Cook Figure from now on.
It's very important to be here, she says. The demonstration was in response to President Trump's crackdown on DEI initiatives this week, which put federal employees working on such incentives on paid leave and shuttered offices dedicated to it. Trump's executive order called the practice illegal discrimination and aims to restore merit-based opportunity. And I kind of agree with that. Because this DEI under the Biden-Harris administration, it was all a money grab for corporations and educational institutions.
Now,
so this is
one thing we got to understand is that a lot of jobs never, ever been hiring on merit. It's been a good old boy system in America forever. Good. You can point that out. That a lot of whites like to hire white. You can point that out. You absolutely can say that. They like to hire their own. You can say that. And we can go after that in the course and straighten out that if you're not hired because you black. They don't want to hire you because you black. And you show you qualified, we're gonna fight that fight. What's disgusting is they act like y'all ain't never looked for a job in your life. Salute, yeah, Dr. Cook in the business. Do I got to put it on camera? I can go to all these bougie blacks tomorrow, bro. I'm saying, man, I'm gonna put on a suit and show y'all I'm going in here and get a job because I'm black, right? I'm black. They gonna give me a job? Hell no. People say, well, you're not qualified to be doing no heart surgery. Well, shit, am I dead or not? I hate that we have to have this. We're gonna have it out. Because I know these bougie niggas, they ain't been giving us no jobs. They like the whites is the only people telling you can't get no job. Like they pretending like they're not rich Greek freaks. They own companies. They own corporations, bro. Quit thinking we in 1930. These black people got offices. Man, they living hog to hog, fam. That's serious business. These white people envy a bunch of black people. They're like, damn. They're like Black Wall Street all over again. Why they pretend like the white man the only person hiring? Like if white say no, yeah, you wouldn't be in poverty. That's a fucking lie. That's the scam they're running on us. Because they have been keeping us out of, they could have changed your life. There's a bunch of black people who could change your life forever tomorrow. But they're going to tell you you're not qualified for certain shit. Some of them probably don't want you around. A lot of, there's black people that open up businesses and hired all white people. Like Bun B and Trill Burgers. Ask Bun B. Oh, you know what? I'm doing a video about that shit tomorrow. Man, thank you, Most High, for letting me. Ask Bun B why did he open up Trill Burgers and then how black people had to get on his ass. Like, damn, Bun, isn't any black people working out? What the hell? See? But if it was Trump, just opened up a burger place, where the black people? Oh, the slave master. Where you see y'all coons? Trump don't want to hire blacks. But Bun B could open up a place that don't hire no goddamn blacks. Get the fuck out of here.
Al Sharpton bringing in hundreds of black people to shop at Costco's.
Can't say no to that. Shopping for justice.
And these niggas smiling. These coons smiling. That lady just say she's shopping for justice. She thinks it's a fucking game, bro. I'm shopping for that's like twerking your ass to the pose. Say I'm shopping for justice. Lady, get serious, bro. Get serious. That lady say she out here shopping for justice. They just make this shit up as they go. They smiling. Man, these civil rights motherfuckers need to just get the fuck out the way. Who the hell oppressing them? All these niggas rich. They all these people drove up luxurious cars. All these people living off the home, good houses. You know, I'm gonna tell you something about these people too. Yeah, if y'all ass die right now, your ass liable to get cremated. You better get your shit together. My dad, all these people, they already got their cemetery plots. They already got, they all right. All these people need to get fucked over themselves with this bullshit. Shopping for justice. Man, stop it.
So here's the thing. This is what I don't understand.
Yeah, they twerking to the pose and shopping for justice. What a joke.
Why would you bring hundreds of Black people to shop at Costco's and major corporations?
This
They're not
scamming at an
losing
all-time
money.
high. We know
Whether they have
this nigga is a master magician. I ain't gonna lie, boy. This nigga a master magician, bro. Huh? Taking the money to the motherfucking man. See, when you treat us right, we treat you right. These people gave this man hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this. Oh, they finna cut him a nice check to his non-profit organization for pulling this scam. And then guess what? He already said, in 90 days, we're going to see who been doing what. So guess what? It's going to be all kind of white corporations lined up to fatten Al Sharpton pockets. This is disgusting, bro. Why? Because grandma and grandpa and a few of their people, they still want to follow this coon, bro, and do bullshit like shop for justice. Oh, man.
DEI initiatives or not. But why would you bring hundreds of Black people into Costco's and not bring those same Black people to Black-owned businesses? He always want to be on this pro-Black, this pro-Black, that. How can you be pro-Black and worried about minorities of all color or people of color
no pro-Black businesses
when you're going to a white-owned corporation? White-owned. Stockholders.
They make millions like that.
C-suites, they're all white. Make no mistake about it. All because Trump eliminated DEI. DEI had a $1 billion annual budget. So yes, they were wasting money. And now they're calling for people to boycott Target.
See? And the white man is slick. The white man is slick. I forgot which one of our teachers taught that. I never forget when they brought that up. That you see, it was the civil rights scam. There's a scam they put together, get their wives out the house, get them off the couch. The women wanted independence. You know, so under the civil rights banner, the wives started getting all the jobs too. Then they regrouped, took them years. Then they came back DEI. Then they started getting all the corporate jobs. You know, these niggas still want a position as an NFL owner. White ladies are already NFL owners off DEI. Imagine that. These people, they would say they want civil rights in sports. Here, the white women and Indian women start owning sports teams. Not in these coons yet.
See, a lot of times when Black people want to...
Revolutionary Salute to our family, the real Bruce Wayne, for donate to the war chest. So you can't buy nothing but one thing at Costco with $25. Yeah, what a scam, family. I appreciate the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. It's a big time scam, man. Paying not 25. What the hell they gonna do? What the hell they gonna do with that? He don't give a damn. Shit, he made plenty off of that. And then all them niggas with that, they don't go to no Costco's. I'm here to shop for justice. After you twerked your ass to the pole and lost, man.
To think of strategies to counter back against white supremacy or discrimination or what have you, the strategies are not good. The strategies actually do more harm when we're talking about the Black community than it does good, because giving your money and patronizing these companies that are not Black owned, right? There are no Black shareholders. There are no Black people in the C-suite executive positions, but you are sending thousands of Black people and encouraging them to shop at Costco's. The strategy should be boycott major corporations and owning by Black. If you're going to have a boycott at all, if you're supposed to be so opposed of DEI. So what you're saying is we're going to support corporations that keep the DEI initiatives. But even with the DEI initiatives, that did not increase Black representation on executive levels.
Oh man.
It did not increase.
Come on, man. Come on. That's a scandal and a scam, man. We got to shed light on that, bro. They use these new names to enrich themselves and then get a pat on the back and get more money from BlackRock. Remember, BlackRock was pushing this. This they scam, but it's a class of civilizations. They want you to compromise who you are. They want feminine. And then you look at that 4%, majority of them Black men gonna be feminine Black men. Yes. Oh, yes. Feminine. That shit wasn't just going on in Hollywood. That shit was going on in corporations, feminizing Black men. They wanted masculine Black women. That's a fact. Masculine. They wanted Black women who had women, was married to women. Black men who was married to white men and shit like that. That's what they was trying to push. And then laugh at it all over the goddamn news. Biden patted himself on the back for all of the diversity he had, and everybody was gay or lesbian who worked for him, or somebody with a buff rag in their goddamn hand. Yes, sir, master. That was disgusting. So when they go back and look on the Biden, look at the history of Biden, all the Blacks was in power. A bunch of coons and buffoons did nothing for us. Bunch of DEI picks. That's crazy.
Black representation, when we're talking about ownership, CEOs, C-suites, it did not. The same hiring practices prior to DEI continue to be the same. These companies were hiring Black people and people of color prior to 2022. This is, I believe that's when the DEI initiative under the Biden administration came into effect.
Trying to work for every goddamn body. They scammed it. It's the only game in town. These coons will come from college and tell us why we got to work for people and not try to build your own business. Or see, it's 2025. We don't have nothing yet. What have you done with yourself all these years? What the hell is going on? These people still openly talking about begging somebody. This is what begging. So they won't even hire us. I bet you niggas said y'all was independent, y'all own corporation. Why the fuck we can't come work for you, wealthy Black people? Why the Black billionaires not giving us all the jobs we ever fucking wanted? We got to look at the Black wealthy and say, what the fuck are you doing? Quit telling white people to do all the hiring. When the fuck was you gonna hire us? Jay-Z, Rock Nation, your whole damn staff is white? Huh? Well, when we gonna look at Jay-Z and Rock Nation and his hiring practice, this is not gonna, we can't let this go. So white man supposed to hire all Blacks, give them all, but then Jay-Z can get away with not. No, man, it's a smart business. It's a smart business move for Jay-Z. Huh? But it's racist for the white man. It's a smart business move for Jay-Z, man. We can't let these shoe shiners, man, play us like this, bro.
Fact.
They could be hiring
because if they were practicing, if these said companies were practicing discriminatory hiring practices, then you would have heard of lawsuits. You would have seen lawsuits. But nobody was not discriminating against Black people. A lot of the discrimination does come from the higher positions when we're talking about C-suite, CEOs, executive, COOs, CFOs, all those positions. So we didn't see any real change. DEI is another term for affirmative action, just throwing more money into something, giving corporations millions and billions of dollars just to teach their employees about diversity. It's just a training course that companies took on to force their employees to do.
This is bullshit.
Nothing more, nothing less, except for the company got millions of dollars from the Biden administration. But now Trump comes into office and he's, yes, cleaning the swamp, stop wasting money. So let's get rid of DEI because we're saving $1 billion if we get rid of DEI. And we're going to make it merit-based. It's not favoring one person over another. It's not about race. It's not about gender. It's not about sex. It's not about none of that. It's not about religion. It is purely about merit.
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't even comfortable with this conversation that they have because it means they want us to work for people for 1,000 motherfucking years. No talk about us owning nothing and getting our feet. And I don't want to hear nobody say, well, you got to put black people in proper positions so you can, your bitch ass been in proper positions. We're not finna do that. We're not finna play those games because whenever YouTube goes, black people, all of them ain't scamming. Some of them is rich. They're motherfucking elite bougie. They throwing banquets and balls and toasting to their goddamn self. How they done made it here in the motherfucking America. Own 50 Popeyes. They own these many stores. Come on, man. Come on. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They rich. They rich. Then they sit up here. Then they playing on Facebook and shit acting like they going back to the fields. All a scam on y'all who really having their heart. Really trying to find your motherfucking way. Really trying to face some racism when it pop his head up. Or being discriminated against when it pop his head up. But like a remote control, these people want to play with our lives and our futures, man. Letting us know they had no plans on building any businesses for us. Congressional Black Coons. They had no plans. All these boule. You had no plans on actually, I told you, Bill Gates paid $280 million for a bunch of motherfucking farmland. With $280 million, he became the biggest property owner in America. I said, what? I never forgot that. I like $280 million. You're telling me to shoot shine and then put that together? We would have had all the food resources. We could have sold food to the world. We would have cornered the food market. There's no reason why them coons did not put their money together because they don't think like that. And they're probably not allowed to ever try that type of shit. Only thing they can do with their money is flaunt it to us. Show us how many cars they got, how much more jewelry they got than us. Stacks of cash like Floyd Mayweather. Show you niggas that never showed me 10 million. They can only do that. But actually doing a life-changing shit for your people, oh, nah, they would never have that. Come out and complain about diversity, equity, and inclusion and bullshit.
So why are these leftist liberals losing their minds?
I am in business in multiple ways.
This can make us pro-black. It's good for us.
Target,
swim, motherfucker.
with Walmart,
nigga. This is reality, nigga.
And Amazon, right? I sell Donna's Recipe, my hair care products, right? Are on Amazon. They're also in Target. And of course, I have a huge partnership with Target. I sell my seasonings at Walmart. I do business all over, just like many other people. And what I can tell you is, if we all decide to boycott and be like, no, we're not spending no money at these organizations. Listen, I get it. And if that's how you feel, honey, I 1000% get it. But so many of us will be affected, and our sales will drop. Our business will be hurt. And if any of you know business, it doesn't just happen overnight where you can just go take all your stuff and pull it off the shelves. There's a process. And then you got to, like, where you going to put it? You got to have a place to store it. That's money, right? You got to have another place to sell it, which is almost impossible sometimes. And even if you sell online, it's a process when it comes to business. And everyone does not have the funds or the means or the availability, the space to house their own products, right? But the thing that concerns me the most, and I want you to hear me and hear me well, if we all decide to stop supporting said businesses and say, I can't buy nothing from there, even the businesses who were affected by the DEI ban, right? What that does is you take all our sales and they dwindle down. And then those companies get to say, oh, your products are not performing. And they can remove them from the shelves and then put their preferred businesses on the shelves. And then what happens to all the businesses who've worked so hard to get where they are?
See,
then what happens?
What she said, we could easily, why Al Sharpton didn't say, hey, we go into these places and we buying the black items here to make sure that the black items sell high. We hunting down black items in these stores. We're gonna teach them a lesson. We're gonna make the black items the ones selling the most. None of that, because they don't give a fuck about us. You see what she's saying? Since you want to boycott and say we're not going in there, you definitely gonna get them black items took off the shelf now, but they're not gonna talk about that.
Right. Now I know that something that could solve it is ownership of these big corporations, right? It's a long way to go there. There are amazing companies like the Village Market in Atlanta, right? Who support small businesses, and you can go in there and there's some amazing things that you can buy, but it's one store and it's very small. We're talking about mass market. You can't build that overnight. Do we?
Okay, so on one hand, it sounds like she's talking about how if you boycott places like Target or Walmart, where a lot of Black-owned companies sell their products out of, we're going to lose money. And, for us to even get to that point, that's a lot of hard work and years put into it. So if you're boycotting it, we're losing money. And then she goes on.
Revolutionary salute to our family, the real Bruce Wayne, for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love. We say Rev think he's slick. Costco's got that permanent book and that baby on too. Rev might be there trying to ball that evidence. Salute, family. Appreciate the love.
On to say, but at the same time,
is that what Diddy was shopping?
Without DEI initiatives, these corporations can say, well, your product is not selling good, so we're going to replace you. And then they could replace you with someone else. But that's with anybody that could happen to. But I think what she's alluding to is when corporations come to you and say your product is not selling, so we're going to have to replace you with somebody else who is, she's assuming that they're going to just target the Black businesses, the Black-owned companies selling their products.
No,
and replace.
He's saying if Black people are boycotting those places, then that means your product's not selling to your consumers. You might have some whites or Mexicans buying Black products, but if they're not, if those items not being bought by your consumers, then the white people gonna pull your product. Because Al Sharpton told them not to go there.
Based on with someone white, that I don't believe. That is not true. And that's the lie that they're trying to spin it to scare Black people or people of color. Because we have to go back and think. When Target, Walmart, and all of these major distribution corporations started putting Black products in their stores, it wasn't because, oh, I just want to be nice to Black people and do them a favor. It is a major market, especially when you're talking about hair care, beauty. They knew that they could double their revenue putting Black products on their shelves. It has nothing to do with the DEI initiative. So getting rid of DEI only means getting rid of the training. If your product was doing well before DEI, during DEI, and afterwards, why would they come in and all of a sudden want to replace you? It is about money at the end of the day when it comes to these corporations. It is about the dollar. That's it. That's all these people care about. The only color they care about is green, honey. And they want to stay in the Black, not the red. And they know bringing on Black companies that are selling products, especially with hair and beauty and stuff like that and clothes, is going to sell. When you look at L'Oreal, they bought Malia. I can't pronounce the hair product, but it's Mielle. I like her products. Black owned, Black woman. L'Oreal bought that from her. I mean, look, it was a great business deal on her part. But why did L'Oreal wanted to buy it? Because it's profitable. It's profitable. They do the same with white businesses. So again, don't boycott nothing. Stop believing the lie of the Tabithas and the Al Sharptons. Just stop. How about Black people just start focusing on creating your own business and making good products, making a good service that everyone in the public will want to buy from you. Create jobs, create your own business that's going to create jobs for other people. How about that? Cal's daughter also, yes. So this is not like the 1950s and 60s and 40s, you know, where I remember Martin Luther King, when Martin Luther King said, you know, we are going to boycott Wonder Bread. We're not going to buy any Wonder Bread, and they're going to wonder, we're going to take the wonder out of Wonder Bread, and they're going to wonder where our dollar went. And they did, because Wonder Bread was not hiring Black people. See, literally a lot of discriminatory practices were going on back then. So you boycott. The same with the bus companies, boycotting the bus companies. I'm not going to ride your bus. And half the people riding the bus were Black. That means you lost half your revenue, which means you're going to go out of business. So when you take money out because you're not being treated well or fairly, then you boycott. But don't sit up here and tell me because this administration got rid of DEI, then we're going to go back to Jim Crow times. It doesn't work like that. Basically, he's saying, I'm not going to be giving these major corporations billions of dollars. They should be bringing you on to distribute your product because you have a good product, not because you're Black or Hispanic or Asian or gay. And where was this boycott from the Black community when Target and other organizations and other stores was pushing LGBTQ transgender clothing?
That's a fact.
There was no pushback. Other people pushed back, but Al Sharpton wasn't telling you to boycott.
Dana with the data.
Announced a sweeping freeze on all federal grants, funds already approved by Congress. Chief Washington correspondent John Carl is tracking Trump's executive action. John, the administration says this is just a temporary pause, but it could have major consequences.
George, look, there is a lot of confusion this morning about what exactly this directive means, but it may be the most far-reaching executive action this White House has taken yet. It could potentially halt hundreds of billions of dollars in federal spending on everything from assistance to farmers, to Head Start programs, to disaster relief and public transportation. In a memo describing this, was obtained by ABC News, the White House Budget Office has ordered all federal agencies to cease any financial assistance if they believe the program might conflict with President Trump's executive orders. The directive is not specific about which programs would have to be suspended, but it's clearly far-reaching. It says, quote, this memorandum requires federal agencies to identify and review all federal financial assistance programs and supporting activities consistent with the president's policies and requirements. The only thing explicitly not included in this is Medicare and Social Security. And
you guys, the reason why I played this video is because there is a new narrative being put out saying that President Trump has revoked food stamps, Medicaid, Social Security, and all of these other things. Even my wife asked me about it. So I said, man, listen, let me tell you exactly what Trump is doing. I told you guys, and of course, we already know this sham of a narrative was created by the left. We already know that, because anytime you see anything negative with Trump, the left has created it. And the reason why you see the title in this video is because those are the people that I hear screaming about it. We know that all races get food stamps, Medicaid, Social Security, but these are the people that I'm hearing screaming the most about. See, y'all, this is what y'all voted for. Y'all voted for Trump. And see, when you can literally go, watch this. I'm just going to show you guys, because it amazes me still to this day how many, I tell you guys this all the time in my videos. Research. If you see something about Trump on some website that has nothing to do with, if it doesn't end in GOV, if it's not a government website, 9 times out of 10, the story has been misconstrued, twisted, tangled, turned, flipped upside down, and it's turned into something else. You have to research. All right, that's all I'm saying. Research something before you go out listening to individuals who have no understanding about what's going on, and they're going to push a narrative to have you thinking that Trump is doing something that he's not. Watch this. This is on X. One user said, Trump has suspended all federal assistance, including SNAP food assistance. So no food stamps. It says the card is set to expire today at 5 p.m. Washington time. Watch this. Here's another user. She said, if y'all got food stamps, y'all better go shop now. Trump freezing it all at 5 p.m. This is the narrative that's being put out, and it's being spread all over social media. And I told you guys, it's coming from the left, because all of these people, all they do is create hate and racism. Hate, division, racism. They don't want to bring this country together. That's not their agenda. Their agenda is to keep people divided and to keep hatred and tension in the air. So anything Trump does, especially if they think it's going to impact so-called Black Americans, they're going to say, salute, family. Look, Trump did this. Look, see what Trump is doing? See, this is going to hurt Black people. See, this is going to hurt the poor communities, the minorities. See, that's what they do. When literally you can go on the site, watch this. You can literally go on the site, the executive office of the president. It literally has the question right there. Literally, it says, is this a freeze on benefits to Americans like SNAP or student loans? It says no. Any program that provides direct benefits to Americans is explicitly excluded from the pause and exempted from this review process. It literally tells you on the site. It says in a
revolutionary salute to our brother, real Bruce Wayne, once again for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Appreciate the love. He said, all jokes aside, I think eventually we are going to have to build our own nation and lead ourselves. That's a fact, Jack. That's a fact. There's plenty of land, plenty of resources. I said that before. I was really preaching on that. America has made Taiwan a nation, built a military form, and built up their industrial capacity. America has rebuilt Japan. America has rebuilt fucking Germany. We don't want to hear the bullshit. You know, we don't want to hear the nonsense. And see, they are forcing it that way. They're forcing it to way we can have self-autonomy, a nation within that. It's so many ways to do that, and they need to get their mind right. But if they keep on self-destruction, it's going to be no other thing for us to do but go that route.
In addition to Social Security and Medicare, already explicitly included in the guidance. You see that? So they said Social Security and Medicare was already excluded. It said mandatory programs like Medicaid and SNAP will continue without pause. You see that? They literally tell you on the site. Nobody's going to the site to actually go look. So they're going to believe the narrative that is being put out. I told you, a lot of people do not research. What they're going to do, a lot of people do, they hear something and they parakeet it. That's it. They parakeet the things that they hear. They don't research anything. They just, I heard it, let me parakeet it. It's the truth. See, this is what's going on. And they got the whole world in a frenzy. And that's not what's happening at all. We have to learn to research, ladies and gentlemen. We have to learn to research. We got to stop believing everything you see on the internet. If you can't research it and find some truth about it on the government's website, do not believe it. All right?
See,
Trump is not getting rid of food
start
stamps.
striking the boule, especially Roland Martin for misinformation. YouTube got to strike Roland Martin for misinformation. He's spreading lies.
Medicaid, Medicare, or Social Security. That would be, listen, do you understand? First of all, there's so many people who live off of this, who depend on this to live. These people depend on, these things to live. So why would he cut that off? That makes absolutely no sense. Just all of a sudden, one day, we're just cutting everything. Come on. People have children. People are elderly. You think Trump is just going to, you know what? Let's just cut everything off. That makes absolutely no sense at all. Now, they are, however, freezing aid going to foreign countries. Absolutely. And they should, because we have to make America great again first. Before we can do anything for anybody else, Americans have to be secure in their homes and houses. Just like you heard about President Trump. He went down to North Carolina and he's getting those people apartments and everything, helping those people get sit back up so they can start living day-to-day life. Biden didn't do that at all. Biden offered $700 while sending millions and millions and millions to Ukraine. So research, guys. That's all I'm saying. Research these things before you get back and start parakeeting things that's a lie. Now watch this. This is another thing I want to touch on. The president of Colombia. Watch this. It says, this is what Trump said. But we know the president of Colombia was refusing to take illegals back into the country as they were being deported. And Trump wrote this on Truth Social. He said, I was just informed that the repatriation flights from the United States with a large number of illegal criminals were not allowed to land in Colombia. So the president did not want them illegals coming back to Colombia. He said, nope, we're not accepting them. We're not going to allow these planes to land. They have to go back to the U.S. It says, this order was given by Colombia's socialist president, Gustavo Petro, who is already very unpopular among his people. Petro's denial of these flights has jeopardized the national security and public safety of the United States. So I have directed my administration to immediately take the following urgent and decisive retaliatory measures. Emergency 25% tariffs on all goods coming into the United States in 1 week. Trump is big on these tariffs. So once he did that, they said, oh, no, we can't have that. We're not trying to pay no extra money to do anything. Once Trump threatened them with the tariffs, watch what happened afterwards. Trump put up a meme that says FAFO. That means F around and find out. Trump said, okay, you want to play with me? You think this is not going to happen? Since you guys don't want to take back these illegals, okay, we're going to hit you with massive tariffs. And that completely changed the president's mind completely. He turned around and reneged his whole attitude and said, okay, it's cool. We can take them back. Watch this. It says Colombia blocks deportees, backs down when Trump threatens. The president completely did a he did a 180 from what he was saying at first. See, that's how you know those tariffs actually work. Those tariffs work. And tariffs is not a new thing. It's not a new thing. The country's been using tariffs. It's not something new. But I'm just saying they work when it comes to things like this because nobody wants to pay more money. And what's crazy about it is you have all of these people, and they're being investigated, by the way. And I hope they get Brandon Johnson out of Chicago. Get him first. I know they had New York Mayor Adams and some other people on the list, but get Brandon Johnson first. He talks the most smack. Why do you people continue to want to protect these illegals? I don't get it. I do not understand the things that these people have done in this country. If we have done these things, we are going to jail or worse. These people are, why do you guys want to protect these people? It's costing the country money. We have to house these people in these sanctuary cities. They're destroying the cities. They're committing crimes. I mean, what do you guys want? But if we did the exact same thing in other countries, it would be all over the news. They would plaster that thing. I'm telling you, it would be everywhere. And again, it's only the left doing it. It's only these Democrats who are protecting these people. Now watch this. I want to show you guys this video. This is why we definitely have to get these people out of the country. Watch this. Show you guys this video, man. This is retarded, man. Like,
the Marvins go ahead with these.
these people are taking our flag, the American flag, and burning them. They are taking the American flag and burning them, which lets you know these people do not care about this country at all. They do not. There's no way that you're going to take the American flag and burn it. Let one of us as Americans who are from America, whether you are indigenous and black like myself, or whether you are indigenous, or whether you're white, or whether you're Chinese American, or whatever it is, Asian American, let one of us burn a flag in front of the police station and see what happens. Let one of us go in front of the Supreme Court and burn a flag. And it doesn't even have to be the big flag. It can just be the little small flag. Let us burn a small flag in front of the Supreme Court and watch what happens. But these people can do it and nobody can do anything about it. And they're waving their flag around while burning a United States flag. This proves these people do not care about the United States. All these people care about is the benefits that the country brings. Because most of these people are getting the money and sending it back to Mexico and Colombia and Peru and all of these, wherever these people are from. There's Brazil, they're sending it back to these other places because the dollar in America is worth more in these other countries. So a lot of them are just making the money here and sending it back to these other countries to make their country rich. They don't care about this country. They don't want to be here. It's not like they really want to be an American. They're just here to make money. That's it. They're here to make a living and sending the money back to their country. That's all it's for. This is the ultimate disrespect to burn a flag in front of our people. And at the same time, holding your flag and waving it around like it's the hottest thing since sliced bread. But yet, when it's time for you to get deported, you're crying and celebrities are crying for you and blah, blah, all this. Like, it makes absolutely no sense at all. These people are so backwards. And we continue to be sentimental. And, oh, see, they're deporting kids and babies. These people are criminals. These people are criminals. They're not, of course, what you're seeing is women and kids. That's what you're seeing. But a lot of the people that's actually being deported are criminals. These are people who are committing acts of violence. These people are kidnapping and unaliving people, forcing themselves on women, looting, stealing. These people are violent criminals, gang members. That's who's really being deported. It's not really the women and children like you guys think. That's what they're showing, and they have to put that in front to say, see, look at what Trump is doing. And they put that on front page, and all you see is women and kids crying, but really it's gang members and criminals. Do not be fooled, ladies and gentlemen. Research, study, read. Do not be fooled by these people, because the left is going to continue to create these false narratives and put people against each other. That's it. All right? So I just had to bring this to you guys so you guys can
let's go to one of my favorites. Reverend Justice, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Now,
the man with the pompadour.
Let's take a look at the leader of the civil rights, the greatest civil rights icon since Dr. King. That's what they're saying. Him and Benjamin lose every case, but get the settlement money. Crump. Let's take a look at this guy who shopping for justice. The FBI informant and heroin dealer, Al Sharpton.
Like I said again, if you want to see the contempt black liberals have for Black America, you just put on MSNBC and look at Al Sharpton and Joy Reid. Al Sharpton still got a conch in his hair, and the conch went out of style when David Ruffin left the Temptations in 1967. He said he had a James Brown hairstyle. That's what y'all sick he is. So a lot of y'all don't remember Al Sharpton like I do. Al used to be real fat. I mean, just nasty fat. And he had that James Brown hairstyle, and he used to wear jogging suits and all kind of jewelry. He was just
big meat, so big meat.
Horrible individual. He hadn't changed. So in New York City, when he first heard about Al Sharpton, this little black girl by the name of Tawana Brawley. She had stayed out all night against the wishes of her father, and when she came home, she told a lie to cover it up. Said that she'd been grabbed by racist white people, and they put feces all over her, and they put I think they put KKK on her head. I don't know if it's KKK or not, but they did all these terrible.
Al Sharpton is the big meat of civil rights. Real talk. Al Sharpton is the wild-wearing big meat of civil rights, the heroin dealer.
Things, sir. And she came home with feces on her and stuff. Of course, the parents were to the police, and Al Sharpton
gave up the mall.
Brawley attracted a team of activists to her side. The Reverend Al Sharpton.
Revolutionary salute to our queen, Yaya Kids, for the donation to the war chest. She just gifted 5 core-figure memberships to y'all out there. Salute to everybody out there. Now, deal with the memberships is, try to keep them if you can to help the House of Revolution continue and the lights stay on here so we can keep doing how we do it. Salute to Yaya's Kids for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love. Quick salute to you. Now, getting back to the big meat of civil rights, the heroin dealer who snitched on the mafia. This dude brought down the Genovese family, man. They still got a hit on this man. This man they still got about 100,000 on his head for giving up the pajama boss. The man who used to walk around in his pajamas and play crazy, Al Sharpton wore a wire and gave that dude up.
C. Vernon Mason and Alton Maddox were well known in the press, having recently focused attention on another racially charged case, the killing of a black youth who was fleeing a white mob in Howard Beach, Queens.
New York State is now the capital of racial violence.
In the Brawley case, they saw the makings of a cover-up and demanded a special prosecutor take over.
I was a spokesman for the legal team and the family of Miss Brawley. I was involved to help bring light on the fact that there was a situation here that needed to be adjudicated.
We are not going to let this girl be the scapegoat of a corrupt system.
We want to show the world how low down, dogged, and callous the state of New York is.
Brawley's advisors declared they had a suspect, a young police officer named Harry Chris Jr., who had committed suicide days after her attack.
The media now has released that Tawana identified Chris.
What's the evidence?
Tawana's voice on the tape identifying Chris.
With protesters taking to the streets, the state attorney general dispatched veteran investigator John Ryan to upstate New York with orders to solve the increasingly sensitive case.
We attempted immediately to sit down with Tawana and her family, and we reached out repeatedly to her attorneys, her advisors, and that was never fruitful.
Her lawyers, it was their decision, along with her family, which I announced, that they did not want to cooperate because they did not trust the special prosecutor that was appointed by the governor.
We might send them a letter, and then, they'd have a press conference.
They're at a press conference, and all of a sudden, Alton Maddox pops out with this guy's name.
Her lawyers charged that Dutchess County Assistant District Attorney Stephen Pagonis was among the girl's attackers and demanded his arrest.
We have the facts and the evidence that an assistant district attorney and a state trooper did this. she made statements to the lawyer. She never made statements to me. I did not ask a 15-year-old girl what happened. I believe the lawyers believed their client, and I believe that we had an obligation to go forward.
Without Brawley's cooperation, Ryan tried to divine some clues from the initial police investigation.
In the course of the interview with the police, she literally only said one word. She would also indicate, I believe by eye blinks, they would ask her a question and she would indicate yes or no. The police officer took what they could get. She was found in a grassy area behind the building that her family had previously lived in, very near the apartment that was then vacant but unlocked. She had literally just come off being grounded because she got home at 5 a.m. from some party. She goes to visit a boyfriend in jail, and then she eventually takes the bus home, and that's the last time anybody saw her officially during those 4 days.
From his headquarters at the State Armory in Poughkeepsie, Ryan and his team struggled to make sense of a case that seemed to grow more complicated every day.
We were an investigation under siege.
We closed the bridge, the court, and this building, and Main Street.
The press had its agenda, no offense. The advisors had their agenda, no offense. Quite frankly, we had to view it as those of us in the Armory against the rest of the world.
There were scores of false leads. An acquaintance said he was with Brawley. He wasn't. A man claimed to have secret tapes that cast doubt on the veracity of Brawley's advisors. He didn't.
We started a rumor about a 9-fingered man, just to see how long it would take for a press report, to call us and start to ask about the 9-fingered man. I think it took 2 days.
But such moments of levity were brief.
The trooper starts up the steps of the Armory, and these demonstrators decided they weren't going to let him in. He grabbed the demonstrator that was fighting him. Next thing we knew, Reverend Sharpton was accusing me of kicking a blind man. That bothered me. You realize how a lie can spread.
Her advisors have said a lot the past few months, charging that white local officials were involved in the crime, not to mention the mafia, the Ku Klux Klan, and the Irish Republican Army.
Sharpton called Cuomo a racist, compared Abrams to Hitler, and said Brawley would go to jail rather than cooperate with the investigators.
Maddox would actually say that the...
You see how these bastards been whipping black people up for their own political reasons for a long time. But this is a government operative, the heroin dealer Al Sharpton.
Attorney General of the state of New York was masturbating over pictures of 15-year-old Tawana Brawley.
They looked up and they saw Maddox, Mason, and Sharpton. What's wrong with them? What was wrong with us was crackers didn't choose us.
I think a lot of the rhetoric, including mine, went too far. But I think that there's a difference between the rhetoric and the reason we got involved.
But at the time, that reason was questioned by one of his own associates.
They are frauds from the beginning.
Perry McKinnon, you couldn't see Sharpton without seeing Perry McKinnon in those days. And he was with him at all times. And, he's a decorated war hero. He's all these other things.
This whole situation is not about Tawana Brawley. It's about Mason, Maddox, and Sharpton sort of taking over the town. Their exact words were, we beat this, we will be the biggest niggas in New York.
Oh, that joker went out. Boy, they had to go on the news. Al Sharpton screaming about this, that, and the other. It was horrible. Come to find out it was a lie. And that's how Al got famous. And Al got bit by that bug, and that joker ain't stopped since. He's been involved in all kind of shenanigans, all kind of crap since then. I mean, did y'all know Al Sharpton ran for president? Of course, as a Democrat. Al ran president, mayor of New York. He's involved in the Duke Lacrosse thing, the Jenna Six thing, Trayvon Martin thing. Him and Ben Crump has come together. Now, they the Justice Brothers. Whenever they find a black man got shot by a white cop, they show up. And they sue the city. And then they share the money. That's the game they play now.
Lose the case, nobody get locked up, then they bust down the settlement money.
So, but it's something else about Al Sharpton that's very, very interesting. Show you how messed up he is. When I was in Florida with Patrick Bet-David, the night that Trump won the presidency, at Valuetainment, he had, I mean, this was a gala. I don't think thousands of people were there. I was invited to be on the panel with Candace Owens. And I was up in the super VIP area. And the super VIP area was a place where you had to pay $25,000 a piece to be up in there. Yeah, that's the type of money these people had. I was in there for free, though. I didn't pay no money to get up in there, man. That's how I roll. So I was in the super VIP area, and I run into this guy who I recognize. His name was Michael Francisi. Francisi has a podcast of his own now. And Francisi was straight up mafia in the day. I mean, straight up, stone cold, deep, dark mafia. Francisi is so mafia, even when you see Francisi now, you say he mafia. So I recognized him, and I remember that Francisi had out at Al Sharpton, maybe 25 years ago, and he was on Real Sports with Brian Gumbel. He was explaining to Brian Gumbel some things about how the mob works. And he told Brian Gumbel that Al Sharpton had worked for the mob.
The Smoking Gun website is reporting that the Reverend Al Sharpton, a.k.a. President Obama's #1 cheerleader, that he worked as an FBI informant spying on New York mob figures back in the 1980s. Now, the report, which was featured on the cover of today's New York Post, said
he didn't just spy on mob figures. He also spied on the Shakur family. It came out. He went to go visit Tupac. When Tupac got shot, Tupac tell you Al Sharpton popped up. Tupac thinking, it's some black support from the civil rights icons. No, it wasn't. The FBI sent him in there to get information on Assata Shakur in Cuba. And they talk about that. This man pretending like our sister Assata's doing. She all right? You know, we got love for her, man. Free Assata, man. I need to go check on her, man. You know, just slipping in certain shit, hoping that they slip up and give him some type of details about Assata while he's in there, and that's a fact.
said Sharpton secretly recorded conversations that he had with the mob. Earlier today, he responded to those allegations during a press conference. Take a look.
I was not and am not a rat because I wasn't with the rats. I was never told I was an informant with a number. So in my own mind, I was not an informant. I was cooperating with investigations.
Now tonight he
was cooperating because he got busted on tape talking to the mafia about for every kilo of cocaine that he pushed, he gonna get a nice little sweet percentage. They gonna give him a bunch of bricks. And he was hanging around James Brown and all the people in the industry, pretending to be a minister, all that type of shit. All the celebrities, all the people in church who like that heroin and coke, he was able to get it to him. And they was telling him, look, for every brick you get rid of, we're gonna give you a nice little amount. And he was loving it. He got popped doing that. Then he had to start working for the goddamn government.
We also have gotten our hands on an HBO Sports video of an undercover FBI agent acting as a drug trafficker negotiating a cocaine deal with none other than Al Sharpton himself. Take a look at this.
I can get it for about 30 pounds a kilo.
Look at this video, bro. That's it. Democrats, they hate this video. They hate this. Why? Because it's Al Sharpton on tape. On tape, talking about how much money he gonna get per kilo. This is crazy.
I can get it for about 30 pounds a kilo, but I gotta get more than one. Right. I mean, if we're gonna do this thing. No, you're talking about some real. 10 kilograms is like it's 350,000. That's a drop in the bucket. We can go bigger. Every kilogram we bring in 3,500 to it. So we bring in 10, we make 3,500.
Huh? He getting 3,500 for every kilo. Now, this video is not of Al Sharpton busting them for the government. No, this is of the government busting Al Sharpton. You see? The mob telling him he gonna be thinking he making a deal. He gonna be getting 3,500 a kilo. That's sweet. I love that. Mm-hmm. This nigga was pretending to be a reverend at the time and still pretending to be a reverend.
That's a chicken pocket. He can. What he's going to do, he'll do what much they do. He can do it, 100 times over. Like the supply 100 times over.
Huh? I told you this is the civil rights, the big meat of civil rights, man. Hundreds of kilos, man. We can do this hundreds of times over. Al Sharpton like, baby, talk that sweet talk to me. 3,500 a piece, hundreds of kilos, heroin. Oh, wait, Lord. Martin Luther King, I got the dream. This is disgusting, bro. But this is the civil rights hero that they put over all the black people. They know this is disgusting.
That video is reportedly from 1980.
I want you to remember this same nigga is in Costco talking about he marching. They shopping for justice. You know this is a government scam. Anywhere he at, it is a government psyop. He worked for the fucking government, bro.
83, and after it aired, Al Sharpton threatened to sue HBO for millions of dollars.
So it finally came out that it was true. That Al Sharpton was a bad man. He was with the Gambino crime family, and that he was selling drugs in the black community. That's what they say.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Selling
Selling drugs in the black community. Al Sharpton was all behind all that. That's what they say. I didn't say it. Don't put it on me.
Al Sharpton goes up to their offices, Reggie and Victor Guerrero's. Remember, Victor Guerrero is an undercover FBI agent. His real name is Victor Quintana, but back then it was Guerrero. And in the meeting, Al Sharpton proposes a drug.
The Genovese family still have a hit on him. The only reason they haven't killed him is because his ties to the government. Al Sharpton would be dead right now if the FBI wasn't protecting him. That's a fact. He gave up the head of the Genovese family, man. The pajama boss. He talked about that too. Man, they would have killed Al Sharpton if the federal government wasn't protecting him. He got to work for them for the rest of his life. Oh, he a dead man.
Drug deal to that. He's got a big cowboy hat on. He's smoking a cigar and he's talking about drugs in some way. This is all on videotape and it's been seen on Brian Gumbel's Real Sports. So whatever I'm telling you, again, it's all documented. As a result of this meeting, that Al Sharpton became an informant afterwards because the government came to him and said, hey, you're trying to propose a drug deal. And they turned him into an informant at that time, 100%. Al denies it, and then he admitted, then he denies it. Look, you got to give Al credit. I mean, he is a good talker. Look where he is now, visiting, or he was visiting with Obama. He's made a name for himself. So, hey, if he really has changed his life, who am I to doubt that? Good for him.
I ain't never met Al Sharpton. If I did, I'm going to choke him out.
He's still hustling black people, bro.
Figuratively.
When did he
And that's
stop
what the
hustling
loudmouth-
black people? He started his career. We showed that hustling black people using that fake case. For to start a race war, and today they shopping for justice in Costco, trying to inflame race hatred in America, bro. That's bullshit, bro. This nigga's a government informant trying to bring us down, and his whole thing is he's a race baiter. People used to hate to hear that when white people say that because they knew the truth. That man ain't never been no preacher. He would tell you he was a child preacher running around with James Brown. Child preacher. When the fuck was you selling heroin then? Man, that preacher thing is a scam.
Support. Let these guys talk first. Go ahead.
I'm one of the few non-bigoted black leaders around, I would say. Let me state now, let's deal with the facts. Let's go to the record. Tonight, we want to deal with the records and the facts.
Please do it.
On this program, your program, you heard me, you have me on tape, defending this man. Recently, even after the shenanigans with him and the other
That's a lot of crap.
No,
This man-
brother,
that's
you
a lot
had
of
your
crap.
chance.
That's a lot of crap.
Brother,
And I got
brother,
it.
no,
And I got it.
hell no.
I got it.
Huh? Boy, you all talk. Shoe shiner. You know a real brother ain't going for a day like Al. Nigga, see? Al not about that life. He's scamming. Man, this brother here ain't trying to hear that.
Brother, you had your chance.
You had your time.
Brother, no, hell no.
Al wasn't gonna get up. Al, you wasn't even gonna get up, man. Al didn't want to see that brother in no foul one real quick. Al didn't want to have no foul one with that brother real quick, bro. Look at that. Look at that. Mom, I'm a pastor. Mom, look at his brother go again. I'm a pastor. How you gonna hit the reverend? I'm a man of the cloth.
So I don't know. That's what Michael Francese said. So I walked up to Mr. Francese. I said, Mr. Francese, good to meet you. He said, hey,
Come on,
young
turn
man, we
another
started
cheek,
talking.
brother.
I told him about
Come
the
on,
thing.
turn another cheek.
He said, oh, man. He said, you remember that? I said, yeah. He said, boy, Sharpton was no good. He said, that guy was in and he was selling drugs and he said, man, I tell you what, man, we exchanged numbers. He said, I'm going to get you on my show and we're going to talk about it because your community needs to know about how terrible this guy is. I said, Mr. Francis, you're going to get in trouble. Francis said, I ain't scared of, I ain't scared of, yes. That's and he just told me Sharpton was no good. Never have been. Always sold your people out. I believe it to be true because of his past and what he continues to do. Just recently, Al found out that he gave an interview to Kamala Harris. Everybody thought it was a legit interview. You just wanted to talk to him. No, come to find out, she had to give him $500,000 to his organization. He got paid for it. That's who he is.
$500,000 to a profit organization.
The menthol cigarette people, they found out that menthol cigarettes are killing black people. Well, that menthol cigarettes made the addiction to nicotine much more prevalent, and that black people who smoked mostly smoked menthol cigarettes. And the FDA wanted to ban menthol cigarettes. And Joe Biden was supposed to sign the executive order getting it done. And of course, the tobacco manufacturers didn't want to do that. So guess who they called? They called Al Sharpton. The Surgeon General said that if we ban these menthol cigarettes, we're going to save 300 to 600,000 black lives in the next few years. 300 to 600,000. So Al Sharpton didn't want people to know that he was working for the tobacco industry. So he hired Eric Garner and George Floyd's brother to go into the black community, do the dirty work for him. He paid them under the table. And Joe Biden didn't sign it. So he could have saved 300,000 to 600,000 black lives and chose not to because they gave him money. So I guess black lives don't matter when it comes to menthol cigarettes. And so when somebody asks Al, you getting paid to let these black folks die? I'm sure Al said, and? Am I getting paid? Yes, Al, but 600,000 black people are going to die. That's their problem. That's black leadership, y'all. Give it a hand. Al Sharpton, go Al, go Al, go Al. All right, friends, Vince Everett Ellison is here. I want you to go to my website.
And Trump, I get that. I understand it. But what you can't do on my watch is gaslight Black America. You ain't going to sit around and gaslight Black people about nonsense and things that can't happen.
And he's looking to pardon all of the police officers involved.
Silly D. You know what? This year's going to be a lot of dealing with Silly D, the bootlicking shoe shiner who's scared to death to address WAC 100, talking about he's a fucking snitch. After he got out of federal prison, everything did go good for Silly D. But gaslighting black people, he been one of the main people spreading lies. See, he wanted out black people to think they're going back to the fields. I wonder how much Democrats paying Silly D over there to spread that bullshit.
Including Derek Chauvin. Y'all thought it was funny, huh? Y'all think it's a game.
To scare and fearmonger them into running back to the Democratic Party. You ain't gonna do that. See, that's when you become my enemy. Some of y'all wonder who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Willie D.
Police reform initiatives that was put in place in the wake of the murders, the cop murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor.
It sounds like Willie D's reading a script from a Democrat operative.
He is operative. He is exposing his hand.
Yeah, it sounds like he's reading an article from the Democrats. I wonder who sent him that article. could it have been D.L. Hughley?
So I talked about voting for Biden, right? I shared with people that I did vote for Biden. And that is because, like millions of other people, I had the mentality of anybody but Trump.
Sure.
Okay. So I know that you voted, for, well, I think you voted for Biden also.
Of course. Right? And speak to him often.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Well,
D.L. Hughley, I sent you this article, bro, because you definitely reading. That's why you got pictures up. Because you don't want to show yourself doing like this.
Philly Willie to Biden.
And the Democrat, and he gonna let everybody go. He let Judas out. How you gonna free Judas and Hitler in the same week?
And he's looking to pardon all of the police officers involved, including Derek Chauvin.
I don't know what magazine he got this information from or what website. It probably was The Onion or a similar parody site that gives false information on purpose, hoping that the people that read it have an IQ above 14. What I'm trying to tell you is, what he did is either intentionally lying to everybody, or he accidentally lied to everybody, or he just
on purpose.
He drunk. And I don't even know if the man drink or not.
Shoe shiners.
And I mean that respectfully, brother.
I don't
know what's wrong, man. This is crazy, guys. It doesn't make no sense. This makes no sense.
All of the police officers involved, including Derek Chauvin. Y'all thought it was funny, huh? Y'all think it's a game.
See how I say y'all think it's a game. See, that sounds like Democratic operative terms. You know what I'm saying? Oh, y'all think it's a game, see? You should have never let Trump get in there. You should have voted for Kamala. You think it's a game. Yeah, see, when we call you a Kamala supporter, a Joe Biden supporter, you need to own up to that. Wear it proudly. Wear it proudly. Don't flip-flop. Be who you are, my brother. You still a brother. We just disagree politically. But don't jump back and forth like you ain't a part of that shit. Don't play us for fools and act like you are independent. Don't act like you ain't up with them people trying to get that D.L. Hughley, Roland Martin money. Yeah, don't do that, man. Don't play games. Just be what it is.
Stand on your boule.
Come on now.
People told you exactly what they were going to do. He told you what he was going to do. Let me tell you something, fam. These are all things meant to put black people and other people of color.
Oh, there it goes. There goes this expression I was looking for.
Big cotton. I told you.
Anybody who says black people and people of color are working with them people. Yeah, fam. Anytime you say black people and people of color, you are working with the Democratic Party, because black people, unless they try to be politically correct, like fall in line with Democratic talking points, they never say shit like that. When a black man says, but black people and people of color, that signals to me right off the back that this person is either training to be Roland Martin's friend, buddy, confidant, footstool, gopher, or, is trying to follow in the footsteps of D.L. Hughley. Because this is not really how black people get down. This is not the natural. We are black Americans. It's crazy that the man who put out such hits as "Don't Make Me Have to Smack a Hoe" would capitulate with riveting lyrics like "I pistol whip you, I will it do." Would capitulate, start talking about people of color. It's just sad, fam. It really is. So let me cut to the chase, guys. We had our fun. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something I wouldn't normally do, but I'm going to call what it is. That's what I'm going to call Willie D, because I feel that if you're going to talk about a man online and you got his math, you should hit him up like a grown-ass man and set the record straight. Yo, Willie. Yo, what's up, fam? How you doing? Oh, this ain't Willie? All right. This ain't Willie. Okay. Okay. It's Scarface? Oh, okay, Scarface. What's up with your boy, man? PCP. See on PCP. Sherm. You can still find that out here? How much you do? Said the whole bottle. What you don't rock with him like that no more? You don't rock with him? Said he don't even mess with Willie D like that no more. Damn. Oh, that's cold. Third best performer in the three-man group. Come on, man. I want to focus on the political aspects of things. Willie couldn't politic his way out of a brown paper bag. What'd you say? Now that's a harsh critique. That's your brother. Well, damn. Told me kiss his ass. Hey, Face, I'm gonna let you go, Face Mob. Respect, Brad. Respect. Okay, yeah. Yeah, tell him that Tim Black called and said, get checked in, go to rehab, do something. It's important. Thank you. Poor Willie. Went to one too many Diddy parties. And he's depressed, man. He's just going through changes, man. Going through changes, man. Tapes come out, it'll expose the whole thing and clear it all up for us. I'm surprised Face told me all that in that short amount of time. Look, guys, here's the point. This is what I'm trying to tell you. And I want y'all to be honest. I want to be very clear. Let me be transparent. Donald Trump cannot pardon Jerry Chauvin because Donald Trump did not convict Derek Chauvin because Donald Trump is not a court of law. Donald Trump only has pardon authority over federal inmates. Those convicted of federal crimes could get a pardon from Donald Trump. But if you were convicted in a state, as is the case of all the officers who had any part to do with the death of George Floyd, they all were convicted in a Minnesota court. So Donald Trump has no jurisdiction over those officers. And any attempt to pardon them would be like that would be like me trying to fire the coach of the Los Angeles Rams. I'm not the coach. I don't have the authority to. Some people have been saying Tim Black, even though he can't do it, don't mean he can't try to do it.
No, they want him to try.
Okay.
See, these shoe shining, buck dancing Greek freaks, the boule, they are dreaming of every racist scenario that they hope they are praying Ku Klux Klan start riding, lynching people so they can come. See, I told y'all. Oh shit, who outside? I told y'all we was good. They praying right now Donald Trump step out in the robe and say, niggas, back to the fields, even though that was sinister, back to the fields, just so they can say, I told y'all. I told you this would happen.
I get your point. You're saying that Donald Trump is such a flaming racist that he would, to feed his base or something, he would do everything possible to try to get these officers out of jail. And just to shame black people and put it in their face and make Tim Scott look stupid, make Byron Donalds look dumb. You know, I get it. I get what you're saying. You're saying you trust him so little that you think he'd do that. Here's the thing. I don't disagree that
we gotta watch D.L. Hughley, Willie D, Plies, Uncle Luke, the Coon, the Shoe Shiner. I'm not gonna put it past these niggas to dress up in a robe and let some niggas they self. We're gonna start cutting. I swear to God, these niggas liable to shoot black people themselves. And say nobody's speaking on the 5 murders. Black people been shot. Y'all not paying attention. We're like, what 5 murders? These niggas gonna get themselves up. These niggas. I'm not putting past these niggas to get together. Willie D, Plies, these niggas conspire to lynch black people just to not only make money, but keep that gravy train rolling. Blame these niggas will dress up like the Proud Boys, lynch some black people, tell us, I told y'all this will happen, as they ride around lynching black people.
Trump hasn't given you a whole lot of reason to trust him. And I'm not going to disagree with you about possibilities. I will talk to you about probabilities. And the probability of someone being that stupid where they would try to have authority over a jurisdiction they have no authority over is ludicrous. The only person that could pardon Derek Chauvin, the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, is the only person with the authority unless the otherwise noted in the state's constitution. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense. Let me put it this way. Whenever you watch the movie and somebody's calling up trying to get a stay of execution for a prisoner, they're always calling the governor because the governor in that state can issue a pardon. They don't call the president. The fact that Willie D didn't take time to look that up before putting out a video gaslighting all the black people. See, what I tell y'all? What I tell y'all? What I tell you? Listen, man, at the end of the day, folks, I'm not going to sit back and watch black people be sheep-herded or gaslit into believing every and anything they throw at us. Know this, guys. Over the next couple of months, Democrats and Democratic operatives are going to be trying to scare the shit out of you about everything that Trump does. Something Trump does will have no possibility of going through. He will attempt to do them because he told people on the campaign trail he would do it. He has no power if the people turn on him. So he made promises and things he said he'd do, like this birthright citizenship stuff. That's already going to get overturned. You understand what I'm saying? Trump can't remake the Constitution. He can't go into your state and open up jail cells. Don't be gaslit by what Democrats pull right now. Their job is to discredit Trump's everything. My job is to just call out Trump's things, what he does. Make it clear and continue to hammer the Democrats. And that's what I'll do. What I won't do is try to scare you. There are things that Biden did under his reign that you didn't even know he did. Did you know that Biden let in 10 to 14 million people? Did you know that? Or did you find that out during the election? How many of you knew that? See, you didn't know it because the media wasn't covering it. Why didn't the media cover millions of people coming through our border every month or every year for 3.5 years? Why do you think they told you? Why did you not hear about it until election? Because the corporate media only going to tell you what they want you to know. And the corporate media, once you're afraid of Trump, they didn't want you to know the truth about Biden. It's a dirty, dirty game. It's a big club and we ain't in it, and it's a dirty, dirty game. The Democrats still own the media. It looks like they may own Willie D too.
They should show they own him. But I tell y'all what, years scaring the hell out of black people. See, down the end, it's just so crazy. They want violence. They want violence to happen to us. The white liberals, we ain't gonna put it past them. Told you they never. Every police officer that killed a black person or whatever, they never told you if they were Republican or Democrat. We need to look into that. The biggest scandal in the world is you find out majority of them was Democratic racist cops. They got themselves. We don't know everyone was some MAGA who killed no black person. They pretend like it.
So now we live in a time where Selena Gomez, even though she is, a wealthy star, she can't have an opinion. She can't post online how she feels about deportations and immigration without being made fun of by the far right or the MAGA folks. What is going on here? This is not what America's about. This is not patriotic. She deserves to be able to have her own opinion. And just like everybody else, just like you folks who are criticizing her, she can state her feelings online, on social media, just like you are.
¿Cómo fue el trato desde el principio?
No, terrible, terrible, terrible.
sea, la comida, con mi bebé, casi me robaron en México, me robaron todos los documentos, el celular, casi se robaron a mi bebé.
¿Cuánto tiempo estuviste detenido y cómo hiciste con el niño?
8 días. No, él no ha comido, él está en desnutrición. Allá lo llevé al médico y él está en desnutrición. Él no ha comido en todos estos días, no ha comido.
¿Qué mensaje le das al país ahora que estás acá?
Que no se vayan. No se vayan porque los están deportando a todos, no, o sea, no los van a soltar al siguiente día, sino allá hay personas que llevan un mes, hay gente desaparecida. No, que no se vayan, y ya hay ejército, ya mandaron soldados a las fronteras, los ponen en el asilo, pero no los sueltan allá, los dejan. Nos dieron prioridad porque pues traemos a los bebés, pero duré 8 días allá donde, o sea, sin comer bien, los tratos eran horribles, nos levantaban, mejor dicho, como si fuéramos lo peor del mundo.
Gracias.
Desde el principio nos trataron muy mal, nos botaron la ropa, nada más nos dejaron guardar el celular, no nos dejaban bañar, la comida nos despertaban a las 3 de la mañana, nos esperaban que nos durmiéramos y a la hora nos despertaban, nos gritaban, a algunos les pegaron. La atención médica prácticamente tocaba lastimarse para que nos dejaran salir. El trato fue muy malo desde el principio, la verdad.
¿Y cambió cuando llegó el gobierno de Colombia?
Sí, ya el último día no nos dejaron bañar, nos dejaron cepillar, prácticamente nos trataron bien, ahí sí nos decían que gracias, que dónde vivimos y todo eso. Ahí sí se preocuparon del todo, la verdad.
¿Qué mensaje le das al país?
No, pues...
Revolutionary salute to our brother Keith Tolliver for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, family. Salute to you. Appreciate that love, brother.
La verdad que estamos felices de volver. Ansiábamos mucho estar en nuestra tierra. Extrañábamos, la verdad, estar por acá. Y que la verdad, algunos nos arrepentimos de habernos ido.
All right, guys, so we have to continue our follow-up on the mass deportations because as you guys saw at the beginning of this video, the illegal immigrants that are being deported from the United States back to their home countries, in the case of that video you guys just saw there, those were the Colombian illegal immigrants that were deported back to Colombia after the Colombian president decided to throw a rage fit over Trump deporting illegal immigrants on military planes into the country, just to end up folding after Trump threatened to essentially bankrupt Colombia if he doesn't comply. So, yeah, I mean, they have arrived back in their homeland, and they're saying, hey, to anybody thinking about coming to America illegally, don't come because they're deporting everybody. They have the army at the border. And yeah, it's just not a good time, right? It's not a good time to be an illegal immigrant in the United States of America. Now, again, the reason why she's saying this is because we now have a president that is in charge, that is conducting the largest mass deportation operation in American history. And he's being unapologetic about it, right? He's basically saying, listen, this is what we have to do. Okay, we have to get this illegal immigration issue under control, and some hard choices are going to have to be made. Okay, in these liberal cities that are refusing to cooperate with us because of their sanctuary city status, because they're run by woke lunatics, hey, we are targeting them for the ICE raids. And one city that has recently been targeted is Chicago. And the woke mayor, Brandon Johnson, who has been hell-bent on trying to protect and feed and support the illegal immigrants no matter what, even at the expense of his own people, he's now lashing out, whining and crying, racism and bigotry, hate over the mass deportations, the raids that are now happening in his city. Take a look.
See, I can tell you that's not going to work because if you even go to Africa, you overstay your visa, you overstay your welcome, they deport your black ass to other parts of Africa. You can't say it because of racism. In any real country, this is what absolutely has to happen if you have sovereignty.
And a brief follow-up, Mayor. Your reaction to Borders Czar Tom Homan making his presence known here in your...
It's clear from this administration is that they do not have the full pulse or the breadth of what people in America are calling for. And, you know, he has made it no secret that he wants to dismantle the education department. And he's made it very clear that he is not willing to uphold the very sensibilities of our democracy to make sure that we're protecting the civil rights of individuals. Look, as a former public school teacher, the fact that everything that we won and fought for during Reconstruction, he is trying to roll back the hands of time. And as I've said, that there's a clear disdain for the fact that the Civil War went in a direction that clearly there are people in this country have not accepted. So we're going to continue to stand up for working people. That's what my mission is. The city of Chicago, we are the heartbeat of America, and we will continue to lead the way.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
I want to ask you a little bit about the potential economic impact of this situation. Last week, we were down in the Little Village neighborhood, the 26th Street corridor, second busiest in the city of Chicago, was virtually empty. And the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce said even before the ICE raids last week, they were seeing an economic impact. So many of these businesses are mom and pop businesses. What are your concerns about the economic impact of what's going on right now, especially in these communities? And what can the city do, if anything, to try to help them get through this?
Well, the first thing that we're doing is we're making sure, and our deputy mayor, Beatrice Ponce de Leon, already spoke to this, making sure that businesses and the community that they know their rights. As far as the entire economic impact, our budget director has spoken to
these
that.
scammers have already been exposed, closing down black businesses, closing down, revitalizing rundown areas. We may have apartment complexes, so revitalize them, build them up, and then put the migrants in there, giving the migrants the loans to open up these shops, giving them food trucks and everything. They say, these business. What about these businesses that's been started? Yeah, other people can have those businesses. Do the same thing you did for them to other people. Other people want those free, no interest loans, no money back loans to start their businesses. Any type of food trucks you got, yeah, we'll get those too. Big time money loan, big time money giveaway. We'll take all that from the motherfucking government. These people should be ashamed of their goddamn self. Acting like shipping criminals out of America is going to shut down the economy. That's disgusting.
I'm happy to bring her back. Please, Annette, if you want to speak more to that. But the whole point of that level of intimidation is to have that type of impact. That's what terror does. It works to disrupt the way of life. We literally have acts of terror that are being promulgated from the federal government.
Yeah, when you're destroying these people's homes in their countries. See, when you're an imperialist who want to take people's resources in South America, that's where the crime starts. Stop. Like I say, this nigga never tell the U.S. stop invading these countries and taking their resources. He never gonna say that. No, what he gonna say is the leader's a dictator and these people need freedom. So you gotta put sanctions on these countries, which means they're gonna starve the community to death. See, they starve these South American countries to death so they can run these people over here so they can get their free labor and then replace your ass because you've been complaining for far too long about you on higher wages. If you white, replace you too. Black, you want higher wages. Mexicans who've been living here that are Americans, you too, you've been wanting higher wages. This is disgusting. So when you see this corporate liquor shoe shiner fighting hard to undermine your buying power, your economic stability, it's crazy because he ain't never fought that hard for nobody else in his community. That's why all the black people turn against him. They want him out. They go to every meeting to shout him down and say, nigga, you never fought like this for us. But now every time they speak, it's civil rights and Reconstruction and the Trump is the new Hitler. This is disgusting.
Look, I know many of you in here enjoyed your social studies classes. As a proud social studies teacher, I can't emphasize enough, not just how unprecedented this is, but what it is reminiscent of. As Mark Twain said that history doesn't repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes.
Tom Homan showed up in Chicago and within 24 hours found a convicted sex offender who has been living in our city since 2009, flouting the sex offender registry. If he can do this, why can't you?
Because that's their job. That is their job. The federal
Their
government
job's not to keep
has a
the people of Chicago
responsibility
safe.
to make sure that individuals who are undocumented, who have been charged with, convicted of a crime, it is the federal government's responsibility to do their part and uphold the law. Our local police department, along with our public health department, along with our other sister agencies, are working to build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. And as we've stated repeatedly, those critical investments, you continue to see the results of those investments as violent crime continues to fall in Chicago.
Yeah, see, now you heard that. As I predicted, probably one of the easiest predictions for me to make, Mayor Brandon Johnson would somehow, some way, boohoo, whine, and cry racism as a result of the mass deportations. Okay, he basically says that, hey, Trump is mad because I guess, I don't know, the Confederacy lost the Civil War. That's the reason why he's doing this, which again is fascinating to me because Democrats, progressives, liberals, these are the people who are concerned about who's going to pick our cotton. That's their main concern. They're much more concerned about cheap labor than they are about the well-being and safety of the American people.
A question about, because one of the reasons that President Trump got elected, according to President Trump in an interview, I think it was with Kristen Welker of NBC, was because of grocery prices. Not the only reason, but a reason: high prices, inflation, especially at the grocery. The Department of Agriculture says that between 2020 and 2022, 42% of crop workers were undocumented immigrants. And in many cases, as you know, these migrants do jobs many Americans do not want.
That's a fucking lie. It's a myth. It's such a myth. The migrants do the job many Americans do not want to do. These people is nuts, man. They don't want to do it for low wages. They definitely want to do it for the proper pay scale. That's what they don't want to talk about. Americans, now you see what happened, and that's when the whites got really pissed because they said the whites is sorry, lazy, work. They don't want to work hard. That's why they had to bring in Indian Americans. That's when the Elon Musk shit started happening. They started looking at Elon crazy and Vic Ramaswamy. They said, "Whoa, wait a minute. What are you trying to the visa thing with the Indians?" Yeah, they say, "Oh man, you Americans, you're too lazy." But it's really about the pay scale. 40% of the agricultural workers, you done it on purpose. You didn't want to pay blacks. Who the fuck you think used to do all the agricultural work in America, bro? Y'all got to be crazy. You used to do all the agricultural work. You put a nice name on picking cotton and oranges and grapes and fruit. You did everything. But now they say you don't want any of those type of jobs. And the Democrats are saying it right in your face. You begging for work. Black men begging to work. And they sit and talk about, well, you know, you don't want to work hard enough. Then you go get the job. What the pay is? You don't want this. No, I don't want them crumbs. They doing this on purpose. Don't want to pay American workers. So they're trying to keep the spigot of cheap labor and disrespect Americans as they push their bullshit. Many Americans don't want these jobs. These people building houses. See, they fool you into thinking they just talking about sitting under the sun, picking apples. Fuck no. These people building houses, making good money. Look at the illegals. They driving nice vehicles, staying in nice homes. They have rental homes now. Don't lie. They people working in the plants down here. They people making $25, $30 an hour. Don't let the people fool you. The people doing all the road construction work. Time and a half. Big, fat paychecks. Many Americans don't want to do this stuff. Man, what the fuck you lying to? The gig is up. They got to go. And we're going to do all those jobs and more. Bastards.
To do. So how does President Trump make sure that the effort to deport people who are not in this country legally doesn't end up hurting Americans who want safe borders, absolutely, but also don't want to see even more higher prices in groceries?
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's not your position, Jake. You're just asking the question that we should supply America's food with exploitative, illegal alien labor. I obviously don't think that's what you're implying. Only 1% of alien workers in the entire country work in agriculture. The top destination for illegal aliens are large cities like New York, like Los Angeles, and small industrial towns, of course, all across the heartland, as we've seen with the Biden floods. Mm-hmm. None of those illegal aliens are doing farm work. Those 30,000 illegal aliens that Joe Biden dumped into Springfield. I'm
talking about the ones that are.
But I'm explaining this. It's important to understand.
No, you're kind of changing the subject. I mean, I'm talking about the ones.
See, propagandists. They want you to think that these people are just working in the fields. No one wants to pick any cotton, do you, nigga? Man, please. Them people got good paying jobs. Stop playing with us, bro.
I will give me 30 minutes. I'll go as deep as you want on this.
We don't
explaining
have
to you
30
and your
minutes.
audience.
I don't have a third. I'm talking
explaining-
about the ones that work in the agriculture industry.
I'm
You can
explaining
come back
to you
and
and
we
your
can talk
audience.
about the ones in the cities. I swear.
I'll do the whole answer. The illegal aliens that Joe Biden brought into our country are not full stop doing farm work. They are not. The illegal aliens he brought in from Venezuela, from Haiti, from Nicaragua, they are not doing farm work. They're in our cities collecting welfare. As for the farmers, there is a guest worker program that President Trump supports. Over time as well, we will transition into automation, so we'll never have to have this conversation ever again. But there's no universe in which this nation is going to allow the previous president to flood our nation with millions and millions of illegal aliens who just get to stay here. And we are especially not going to allow a subset of those illegal aliens to rape and murder our citizens. So we are going to unapologetically enforce our immigration laws. And as I'm sure you will celebrate, we are going to unleash the power and might of the U.S. government to eradicate the presence of transnational threats on our soil.
Boom. It's really that simple, right? It's really that simple. For all these people boo-hoo out, who's going to pick our cotton? Who going to do it? Who going to do it for us? Again, first and foremost, we have a program for that. And if that program is necessary to use, because from what I'm hearing from the left, the American people, they don't want to do those jobs, right? As if we don't have millions of unemployed men, prisoners, and others, a lot of federal workers who are going to be losing their jobs, DI hires that need jobs, right? They can pick our cotton, okay? I believe we got plenty of people to pick our cotton. But anyways, even if we needed foreign labor to pick our cotton, right, to pick our crops, to build our houses and stuff like that, even if we actually really needed it because literally nobody else will do it, we have a program for that, right, in which they can come in under the program and they can do what they're here to do. And hopefully, you kind of send them back. But I'm just saying that, we have a program for that, okay? So we're going to have immigration into the country for that reason, to have people pick our crops. Then they're going to have to come in documented. We're going to have to know who they are and why they're here, okay? And not just letting them do whatever, okay, and live a life of crime. There's a difference, something that liberals don't seem to understand. Again, I just find it fascinating that, these same people like Brandon Johnson that claim that, Trump is doing this because the Confederates lost the Civil War or something. Again, these are the same people fighting for what the Confederacy was fighting for, right? For cheap labor. Again, it's amazing how that works, okay? But again, according to them, if you listen to them, this is a part of a campaign to make America white again. Take a look.
Look, I think there's always this gap between what they say they're going to do and what they do. And that is because what Donald Trump is interested in is using genuine public concerns that are out there and weaponizing them to then do, much more sweeping things for which there is no mandate, right? So in this example, is there I was on with you last week when we were talking about polling that shows there is support in the country for deporting undocumented people with criminal records. There is support for that. So Donald Trump will talk about that and then kind of run on that. And then, as you're seeing in the reporting just now, what they actually do behind the scenes, they trust will not really get out. And it is part of a different agenda they have, which is really to make America white again, which is part of their attack on everything from birthright citizenship to any number of programs, aid, freezing various forms of aid that real people depend on. They have an agenda to make it harder for regular people to live in this country, for immigrants to have to live and worry about whether they have their papers. We are going to become a kind of check your papers society in the blink of an eye. And there's no mandate for that. But that is what folks like Stephen Miller and Steve Bannon and others around the president actually want. They want to change the very fabric of this country, something for which there is not that same mandate.
I mean, the campaign slogan of President Trump has been "Make America Great Again," right? So again, I think most people understood exactly what they were voting for. I think most people want this country to return back to normalcy, okay, where we don't have mass illegal immigration, crime being out of control, wokeness, insanity happening, right? Yeah, that is what people voted for, right? And if that's making America white again, then hey, I guess that's what we all want. but I'm not entirely sure if that's what's going on here, right? I think what we're doing is that we are bringing back common sense. We are enforcing laws, which again, Democrats find to be a terrible thing, right? It's just crazy how these people are doubling and tripling down on the nonsense. They just lost an election because of this same type of Trump derangement. Most average everyday Americans are watching what's going on with the mass deportations, and they are happy. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're white, black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. Most of them watch that. Yeah. You got to go, right? If you're going to come into the country, you got to come in legally, okay, through legal pathways. We can't have this unfettered mass illegal immigration. And, we got to fix it. It is what it is, okay? And we're going to have to make some tough choices. Some feelings are going to get hurt, but we're not going to be apologetic about it.
Listen to this. New York City joined the list of cities where these performative raids are taking place. We have a government right now that is reckless. Reckless and also, as I've said, performative. I want to show you an image of Kristi Noem, who's just confirmed, the former governor who's confirmed as a Department of Homeland Security. It's as she's cosplaying. It's almost a game where she seems to be cosplaying, as I'm not sure what she thinks that she's portraying here. She might as well be at Comic-Con.
James and Joy say you're reckless and you're just role playing for fun.
She's dumber than a box of rocks. Bottom line is, let's talk about Chicago for a minute. Chicago mayor says that we put fear in the elementary schools because ICE agents went to elementary school. Total false story. What ICE did in Chicago is save children. What we did in New York today is save children. Just Chicago alone, we arrested like 9 sexual predators, most of them child sex predators. We took them off the street. We took them off the street in New York today. We're protecting the community. We're saving children. We're going to secure that border so less Americans die of fentanyl deaths. We're securing the border so less women and children are sex trafficked. Biden administration had a 600% increase in sex trafficking. We're securing the border so less terrorists and people on terrorist watch lists get into the country. Under Biden, we had a 3,500% increase in people on terrorist watch lists. No, we're saving this nation. We're making America safe again. So they need to get out of the way because we're coming. We're going to do it. They're not going to stop us.
And these people can continue to boo-hoo, whine, and cry. They're going to. I'm just wondering how long they're going to do it, right? Are they going to keep this up for the next 4 years straight? Is this really what they're going to do? Because if so, they're going to make my job real easy, right? If this is what they're going to do for the next 4 years. So, hey, let me know what you got.
To turn ICE possibly entering schools into controversy. Watch how Tom Homan completely destroys her.
What we had heard from immigration advocates is that this is going to provide a chilling effect to parents in the school drop-off line or something of that matter.
It shouldn't be a chilling effect unless their child's a terrorist or a public safety threat. If they are a public safety threat and national security threat, they should be chilled. They should be afraid because we're looking for them.
Well, if their parent is here and they're an undocumented immigrant, I think was more of the argument that they were making.
They're not off the table either. They're in the country illegally. They got a problem. It's not okay. Look, it's not okay to enter this country illegally. It's a crime. And that's the way it's supposed to be. I wouldn't feel comfortable if I'm in Switzerland illegally. So we're going to enforce laws in this country. So, the schools and the churches and the central location was a policy only for ICE. Only for immigration, right? But national security threats and public safety threats have no safe haven in this country, and we'll go where we got to go.
What we had heard from immigration advocates.
What he's saying is there's nothing off of the table. However, just recently, him and Dr. Phil just debunked the narrative that they are entering into schools and rounding up children and things of that nature. That's completely false. However, you see CNN is still trying to sensationalize the narrative on trying to get the trying to play on the empathy of the American people. Oh, you don't care about the kids. Oh, you don't care that you're separating families. Oh, you don't care about the mom. And then and it's like, come on, man. If you're a human, of course you have a heart. However, at the end of the day, in order to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish in America, it's about getting things done. And sometimes it's at the cost of just how you feel don't matter, man. What matters is the American people being protected and secured. That's it. Now, moving forward, yesterday, Unpacked with Jack Mack, he's going to be telling you everything that went down, from Selena Gomez crying, then she deleting the statement, to Tom Homan not giving no apologies, Jim Acosta, CNN. Oh my gosh.
First celebrity to cry in Trump's second presidency is none other than Selena Gomez. While she was crying, she took out her camera and recorded herself on Instagram and said, "I just want to say I'm so sorry." And it's about 30 seconds long. She just started to cry. She went on to say that, "I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise." She then deleted it and ended up posting this on Instagram and said, "Apparently it's not okay to show empathy for people anymore." No word yet if Selena Gomez, billionaire Selena Gomez, will open her home to any of the people she is quote unquote trying to help. By estimations, she could fit around 300 to 400 people in here. It is January 27th, and it is time to unpack with Jack Mack, America's favorite nightly news show, according to people that know McDonald's has the best fries. Even the left was coming for Selena on X. One user said, "All lives don't matter no more, I guess." Huh, Selena? Awful grammar. Just, this is, quick aside, one of the worst written sentences.
Hey, I can't even laugh at that.
Tom Homan was brought on Fox News after the Selena Gomez video went viral and said, "We're going to keep going. No apologies. We are moving forward." He later went on CNN with Caitlin Collins and said the exact same thing. And I just got to say, there's never been somebody meant for this job, the head of ICE, like Tom Homan. He just, this man was built, born to do what he's doing right now. Speaking of CNN, Jim Acosta is leaving CNN. What a ride. What a ride. He was a star of Trump's first presidency, going back and forth with the 45th president. I'm sure he has something planned. I will miss him being the press correspondent for CNN and bickering with Donald. They weren't actors. They weren't from Hollywood, Jim. While giving a speech today to the Congressional Institute, Donald Trump said that he's looking to get rid of federal taxes. And yes, Mr. President, you have my attention. It's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. We will see you tomorrow. Stay away from the crowd.
So he just gave y'all a brief rundown of what's really been going on in the first week of Donald Trump's presidency. But I want to focus on the Selena Gomez, where you see Tom Homan responded. He like, "Look, man," he ain't literally say this, but he implied, "Go ahead and cry. Go ahead and cry." Like Max said, Tom Homan was definitely built for this job in this position. When I first seen Tom Homan, I was like, yeah, he means business. Now, this is him responding 100% in full. I'm sorry. Why did I say 100%? This is him responding the clip on Fox News where he reacts to Selena Gomez viral breakdown, and he has no apologies.
Don't know if you've had a chance to see a video that has been going viral over the past hour or so. We're still working to clear it and show it. In fact, the Hollywood celebrity who posted it has now deleted it, I think because probably she faced a lot of backlash for it, noting even the New York Times and Fox News polls show that a majority of American respondents are in favor of deportations of criminals and gang members. She posted a video sobbing. She was crying in it. She said, "All my people are getting attacked," with the picture of a Mexican flag. Again, she has now taken that down. But what do you say to those who are out there saying that these are everyday people, these are families that are being attacked and dragged out of their homes? How do you respond to that?
I don't think we arrested any families. We've arrested public safety threats and national security threats, bottom line. And look, President Trump won the election on this one issue, securing our border and saving lives.
That's right.
What happened on our southern border last 4 years is the biggest national security threat this country's seen, at least in my lifetime, because we got over 2 million known gotaways. We got a 600% increase in sex trafficking. We got a record number of terrorists crossing the border on the terrorist watch list. We have 250,000 Americans dying from fentanyl coming across the open border. We're going to do this job, and we're going to enforce the laws of this country. If they don't like it, then go to Congress and change the law. We're going to do this operational apology. We're going to make our community safer. We're going to save. Once we lock that border on continuous operation, you're going to see fentanyl deaths decrease, illegal alien crime decrease, sex trafficking decrease. It's just all for the good of this nation, and we're going to keep going. No apologies. We're moving forward.
Amen to that. Amen to that. This previous administration allowed over 300,000 under their watch. Under their watch, over 300,000 children went missing. And I wonder why CNN and these left-wing news media outlets do not focus on these issues. Like, hey, well, this is the benefit of this happening versus, oh, you guys are creating issues for families, this, that, and the third, right? Yeah, he's meaning business, and he's not taking it back or backing down, even in the slightest, and getting this done. Now, this is him with Dana Bash when she tries to shame him for rounding up illegal criminals.
You know, I think that there is some kind of image that people might have, given how much we heard President Trump and you in the months during the campaign, and certainly during the transition, talking about what's going to happen of people being rounded up, loaded on buses, and dropping them off on the border. Is that how you see this happening?
Well, I don't like the analogy of rounding up. Look, again, this is a targeted enforcement operation. The president's been clear on this. We're going to concentrate on public safety threats. But in sanctuary cities, where they don't let us take that public safety threat into custody and the safety and security of a jail, we have to go find him. If he's with others in the country illegally, ICE will not turn the blind eye to that. ICE is going to uphold the oath they took. They're going to enforce the laws enacted by Congress and signed by a president. And they're going to do that without apology. I mean, if any sanctuary cities force us in this position, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that there is some...
And it's exactly what we need, somebody who's going to take leadership. This is, again, why we voted for Donald Trump. I don't get why these people don't understand that. And I think maybe playing it from Obama, maybe people might be able to digest the concept a little better.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
So you can see Obama agrees with Donald Trump and Trump's borders are when it comes to deportation. In fact, right here, Bill Clinton, approximately 870,000 people were deported during his tenure. George Bush, about 2 million individuals were deported. Barack Obama, 3.2 million, earning him the nickname Deporter in Chief. Then you have Donald. What did I just say? And then you have Donald Trump. Despite a strong focus on immigration enforcement, only around 1 million deportations during his first term. So the Democrats actually deported more than Donald Trump. Oh my gosh, bro! When they gonna report on? Why they ain't gonna report on that? Now we have Stephen M. I'm gonna make sure Stephen Miller, is it? Yep. Stephen Miller giving a lesson on how to handle the media right here. He's they say he's probably more based than Tom Homan. It might be a tie. It's amazing to have some competent, smart people back in government. Insurrection Barbie at it.
There's a report from Chicago that there were ICE agents that were turned away from a Southside elementary school earlier today. Is targeting of schools, targeting of things like this, something that the administration is comfortable with and will continue with?
I think the framing of the question is wrong. If there's a law enforcement activity that's taking place in the school, then that would be for the protection and defense of the child. As you know, there's an epidemic of child trafficking and labor trafficking in this country. When federal law enforcement officers are turned away from a school, it is the act of turning them away that endangers the lives and safety of children. We've seen, as you know, 500,000 children trafficked over a 4-year period in the United States. This administration is going to investigate every instance of child trafficking, labor trafficking, sex trafficking, child smuggling, and all the attendant crimes involved in that. And our message to everyone in the country is to cooperate fully with Immigration and Customs Enforcement so that we can end the scourge of child trafficking and child abuse that has been endemic these last 4 years.
But for whatever reason, they don't want to cooperate. They rather release them into the world and let y'all find them versus actually releasing them to ICE, where the process can be sped up. I mean, this is an action taken by the Trump administration simply to protect the American people, and yet they've been demonized for the same thing that they want. I don't get it. Now, this Chicago resident and lifelong Democrat who voted for Trump begs Tom Homan to come to Trump to deal with the migrant crisis. Then she blasts the Democratic Party and thanks Donald Trump for delivering on his promise.
Final thoughts are, Tom Homan, you are welcome. I voted for President Trump. And let me tell you something. I was one of those lifelong Democrats. I started voting at 18, voted in every election, voted Democrat in every election, except this last one, because I'm just tired. I'm tired of the same old thing happening from the Democratic Party. I'm so glad that President Trump is now delivering on some of his promises. I heard Stephen Smith ask this earlier on Bill Maher's show. What has the Democrats delivered for us lately?
I know that's right. And you see Tom Homan was with Dr. Phil in Chicago arresting illegals right here.
This Governor Pritzker, and
wonder where they go, who picks them up. This is who picks them up. This is who lures them out on the internet, and they disappear or they get raped and their lives change forever. And he shouldn't even be here, but he's doing this. But they don't raise their hand and say, hey, there's somebody that doesn't even have the right to be here that's preying upon our children, and they don't tell you about it.
Exactly. And this Governor Pritzker, and the mayor, they want to vilify the men and women of ICE. ICE saved children today. ICE saved children today.
Yes,
and
they
it makes
did.
me angry. Governor Pritzker the other day went on the internet, social media, saying ICE was attacking our elementary school. He's scaring children. He's scaring the neighborhood, putting fear in the community. We're doing the exact opposite. We're saving children. Every sexual predator we arrest means more safe children. So God bless the men and women of ICE. If you've seen today, we're not sweeping neighborhoods. This is a target enforcement operation. We spend a lot of time investigating these people. We know exactly who we're looking for. So it's a target enforcement operation. It's the right thing to do.
Well, let's talk about how methodical this was, because you guys had this monster on the list, and they've been sitting on this guy for 2 or 3 days to try to get where he was and his pattern. And you were actually able to ping his cell phone and get him on the move so he could be picked up on the street, rather than if he got to his dwelling, wherever that is, and got behind a closed door, then he could have sat there and you didn't have the right to go in and get him if he sits behind that door, right?
Not without a criminal arrest warrant, but that's exactly the point. He could have been arrested at the county jail, in the safety and security of the county jail, by one officer.
Right.
But we spent hundreds of hours to investigate him, try to find out where he is, and we did find him. It takes a whole team for officer safety to arrest him. Right. It's not efficient. We could arrest many more criminals if you let us in the jail. It's a lot harder to find these guys out in the public. These guys don't want to be found. They're in the wind. It takes a lot of investigative work to find them. Let us in the jail. Don't let them hit the street. It saves officers time. It's safer for the community. It's safer for the alien. It's safer for the officer. But spending hundreds of hours of investigation to find this guy when we could have got him in 5 minutes at the Cook County Jail.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Tell me.
That is an utter shame. That is an utter shame. Utter shame, man. I don't understand why the police departments or law enforcement isn't cooperating with ICE. It just doesn't make sense to me. It makes you wonder. Overton posted, Tom Homan declared war on cartels after border agents were fired upon the other day. He just announced that the U.S. is preparing to wage an aggressive war on Mexican drug cartels.
Gunfire.
What do you know about the Border Patrol agents exchanging gunfire with Mexico drug cartels from earlier?
They have taken gunfire, and it's going to get worse, Sean, because President Trump's going to seal that border. He's going to put the cartels out of business. He declared them a terrorist organization. We got the whole of government is going to dismantle these people and wipe them off the face of the earth. They're not going to go. They're not going to go lightly. We're taking them out of the trafficking business. We're taking them out of the smuggling business. We're taking them out of the dope business. There's going to be more violence on the southwest border. That's why Trump committed to calling the terrorist organization. He has. That's why the entire United States government is going to take care of those people and abolish them. We're going to attack them not just in Mexico, but in the 42 countries that Jalisco cartel is currently residing in. The Trump administration is going to take them on just like he did the Caliphate, and we're going to destroy them.
What do you know?
This man means absolute business. Yes, of course. Right now, you're destroying so many people's lives, people who are doing illegal activities. Of course, they are going to want to retaliate if they're dangerous criminals and things of that nature, right? But they're not backing down. If this was the Trump administration, I guarantee you Biden administration, I guarantee you they would have tried to softball this. I guarantee you. So this was posted from Chicago Ray last night around 8 p.m. where he said it's a great day. First operation of this size. They arrested a lot of bad guys. Sex offenders, murderers, gang members. They took a lot of public safety threats out of Chicago.
Look, it's a great day. This is all government approach. Look, I've been doing this 3.5 decades, and what President Trump has put together is amazing here in Chicago. And it's a first operation of this size and complexity. We had all a government approach. We had U.S. Marshals, DEA, FBI, ATF, ICE, ERO, NHSI. I mean, it's all a government approach. So we had a lot of resources come to look for public safety threats. As President Trump committed to, we're going to concentrate on public safety threats and national security threats. And that's what we did today. We arrested a lot of bad guys. I mean, last time I was down there, I think we got at least 7 sex offenders. Serious sex
7?
Child sex offenders. We got 2 murderers, illegal aliens that are convicted of murder. We got numerous Trendawa gang members. We got, aggravated assault suspects, convictions. So we took a lot of bad guys off the street today with the help of all these other agencies. And what's great about these agencies is not only the force multiplier, but if we find dope, DA can take that case and prosecute it. We find guns, especially with TDA, ATF can take that case and prosecute it. So it's just not about arresting criminal aliens and deporting them. We're going to gather some prosecutions on this. As a matter of fact, we got 2 criminal warrants getting ready to be executed now. There are going to be prosecutions. So look, this great operation, it was well targeted. And one thing we showed today, I think, to American people, we recorded a lot of it. It's not neighborhood sweeps looking for people different than us. It isn't racial profiling like you read on the left media. It's a well-planned operation. I walked through the command center. I saw the targeting system. I saw these hundreds of hours working these targets up, making sure they have a criminal history and immigration history, and we're likely to find them. A lot of work went into this, and they did a great job. We took a lot of public safety threats off the street here in Chicago. This city's a lot safer today because of what ICE and the other agencies did here today.
Amen, man. Shout out to Chicago. Shout out to everybody out there who cast that vote for Donald Trump. I know that it didn't get to flip red all the way, but shout out to Chicago Flips Red for their movement and their stance against the corruption of these Democrats. Tom Homan, Trump.
Shell has shocked the world. DeepSeek R1 matches the capabilities of much costlier American AI models like the popular ChatGPT, but even exceeds it in reasoning capabilities. We have to talk about the implications that this has for so-called US tech domination. DeepSeek R1 demonstrates that China has the ability to innovate despite US economic sanctions and restrictions. Leaders like OpenAI, Google, and Meta melting down at the fact that DeepSeek has been produced at a fraction of the cost of their models. Now, we have to talk about how US sanctions have backfired here. The Biden administration, Trump administration 1.0 have seen US restrictions on chip exports, forcing China to innovate domestically and accelerating its advancements in artificial intelligence and semiconductors. This is what you call shooting yourself in the foot. The semiconductor chips that are so critical to the development of the technology like artificial intelligence, iPhones, computers, etc., have traditionally been the domain of the United States. But by sanctioning China, it forced the economic superpower to go its own way. DeepSeek R1 has already been adopted by top American universities and millions upon millions of ordinary Americans and people around the world. This comes on the heels of what was already an embarrassing backfiring move by the United States.
What China just did to the tech companies in California, they're not really talking about it here in America. They just wiped out $1 trillion of their books. Their companies may go into bankruptcy, but they've been ripping off the American people. China just proved the damn sure scam. Trump just said the U.S. was going to be investing $500 billion into AI infrastructure with the tech geeks. And the next day, China released their models of some AI technology, and they spent $6 million. And it's better than what the U.S. was talking about. And what the U.S. This is a scam of all scams by the U.S. government, what they've been doing to people. But like I say, if China did this with this AI technology, there's no way the U.S. should think about going to war with China. This little slap in the face was just a warning. In war, your ass will be totally devastated by the surprise they give you.
Attempt to ban the popular app TikTok, which led to a massive exodus in the millions of Americans to Xiaohongshu, which has taught those Americans what the real China is like. This incredible development has shocked all of Wall Street. Let's take NVIDIA. After the release of DeepSeek R1, we saw NVIDIA's stock experience a significant drop of 17% with a loss of a whopping $589 billion. Now, investors are concerned about the reduced dependency that the world will have on NVIDIA's GPUs for AI development, as DeepSeek R1 was built with less advanced and more affordable GPUs. The perception now and the widening implications of DeepSeek is that the United States is having a shrinking of technological superiority. NVIDIA's dominance in the AI GPU market now faces huge challenges as China builds competitive AI tools with alternative hardware. One thing that is not being talked about at all is how in the days after DeepSeek was released, there was a hack of its system immediately. DeepSeek R1 was reportedly targeted by a cyber attack shortly after its release. Chinese authorities suspect the attack was aimed to extract proprietary advancements or disrupt operations. China is no stranger to this. Its security corporation, Qihu 360, actually unveiled that in 2011, following the WikiLeaks Vault 1 release of massive documents which showed immense spy capabilities of the CIA, what Qihu 360 found is that in aviation and all tech sectors, the oil sector and personal property data of Chinese people was hacked in by the CIA and stolen for the purposes of disrupting China's development. So security around DeepSeek R1 has now been tightened, and China is enhancing its protections for critical AI infrastructure. There is speculation that this attack could be linked to international competitors, i.e. Silicon Valley, seeking to undermine China's technological rise. You have to understand the trade war between the United States and China led by the United States. It's been a massive failure, with U.S. sanctions aiming at curbing China's trade surplus and manufacturing dominance being completely ineffective. China just announced that it has a trade surplus of a whopping record $1 trillion with manufacturing share predicted to rise from 27% in 2024 to 45% by 2030. Of course, this is part of a larger geopolitical struggle that the United States and China find themselves in. The United States has a national security strategy over the past two administrations prior to Donald Trump 2.0, and that is of great power competition, or what the Biden administration called strategic competition. In this so-called competition, a litany of economic measures have been leveled upon China in order to contain its rise. We talked about sanctions, but tariffs are a huge part of this as well. we see Donald Trump institute tariffs all over the place. He's looking at tariffs on Latin America, tariffs on China, tariffs on Russia. Tariffs now are a tax that are levied upon importers. And in 2018, it was found that Donald Trump's initial round of tariffs in his first administration had actually only raised prices on the products that were sold by U.S. corporations and hurt U.S. farmers and other consumers and producers in a massive way. Meanwhile, China has decided that it will respond to tariffs and sanctions and any economic measure of restriction by strengthening its own domestic marketplace. China's technological leap cannot be contained. The United States attempted to sanction the Huawei Corporation, the producer of popular and advanced cell phones. This was a massive disaster as well. The United States ordered the house arrest of Meng Wanzhou, the CFO of Huawei, during Trump's first administration. Now Huawei is a global juggernaut in ways that the United States cannot even imagine. China's technological leap extends far beyond artificial intelligence and 5G technology. Even the Australian Strategic Policy Institute had to admit that China leads the world in over 80% of the most advanced technologies in development today. Now, the Australian Strategic Policy Institute is no friend of China. It is funded by the Australian government and Department of Defense, the United States government and Department of Defense, and has produced a litany of reports on China's so-called abuses of human rights in places like Xinjiang in an attempt to fuel a Cold War orientation and policy toward China by the United States. And in large part, it has worked. So this DeepSeek R1 phenomenon symbolizes China's ability to counter all of these measures, from the sanctions to the tariffs and more. And it poses a major challenge, not just to American tech dominance, but to U.S. dominance itself. Now, will the U.S. market make adjustments? Will U.S. companies like NVIDIA and OpenAI face increasing pressure from China's cost-effective innovations and seek to innovate themselves? Well, the Trump administration says it is going to give these corporations $500+ billion and deregulate the entire industry so that it can compete with China. But will it work? No. The answer is likely no, because the United States' economy, regulated or unregulated, is facing a massive crisis. And that crisis has geopolitical ramifications. Since the end of World War II, the United States viewed itself as the economic and military superpower in the world. But over the course of this period, since 1945, the U.S. economy has been shrinking as the U.S. economy deregulates and attempts to boost the profits of its investors and financiers on Wall Street. These financiers actually see investment and innovation as an impediment to their profits. In the United States, corporations and monopolies control the government. In China, the government regulates and controls the corporations. And shockingly so to so many, this actually allows corporations and innovations and developments inside of China economically to flourish, given that these companies have the support of not just their government, but their people. That is why China has been able to grow this massive consumer market of so-called middle-class people of over 300 million. That's why it's been able to alleviate poverty by reducing the overall impoverishment in China from 800 million to 0 over the course of just 2 generations. This is going to be a shock to the United States' overall posture towards China. The United States believes that it can control China, that it can defeat China, but we have seen now here that the U.S. has lost to China, and in more ways than one. Because while DeepSeek R1 is showing off the technological advancements that China has been able to produce over the course of the past several years, even if not the last several decades, the problem for the United States is that it is falling behind in all areas of development, technology, and otherwise. China boasts a $1 trillion trade surplus. The United States does not boast such a surplus. China boasts 47,000 kilometers of high-speed rail. The United States has 0 high-speed rail. China leads the world in afforestation and other renewable technologies, now the largest car producer overall and the largest producer of electric vehicles, and it's not even close. The United States is far behind. This can go on and on and on. This is a list that just doesn't stop. But the question is, why has this occurred? Well, the United States has sold its innovation capacity, its industrial capacity, and its people down the river to the richest of oligarchs. These oligarchs on Wall Street and in the military-industrial complex view any kind of investment into innovation as a cost, which they believe should not be supported by the government. Industrial policy is actually not a new thing. While U.S. politicians like Marco Rubio, the new Secretary of State under Trump, like to boast that China has been stealing technology and patents and its industrial policy is unfair, mimicking the words of people like Janet Yellen. The fact of the matter is that the United States went through a huge period of industrial policy during World War II, where it was able to use government funding to boost industry in a time where the economy was in a Great Depression. This led not only to a flourishing military-industrial complex that we see the consequences of today, but it also led to a flourishing of all industries, auto manufacturing, rubber manufacturing, and otherwise, which allowed the United States to become an economic superpower and give ordinary people in the main, although many were left out, an opportunity to make higher wages and live a better standard of life. This is what's happening in China right now. China's standard of living has increased dramatically. It was once poorer than Bangladesh just 30 years ago. Now China's per capita GDP is in the high income or reaching a high income level of development. And this has not stopped despite Gordon Chang and others in the anti-China commentariat who are trying to tell us that China is about to collapse every so on years. The point here is that the United States' empire, its oligarchy, its financial and corporate dominant economic system has reached a point where it can no longer compete with the rising power of China. And this means that despite the Trump administration's early signal that he wants to develop a better relationship with China, we better buckle up for increased conflict, increased tariffs, increased economic warfare, and of course, increased military warfare. Because how the United States has responded over the last 15 years to China's rapid economic rise has been to encircle China all along its borders in the South China Sea and the Asia Pacific and otherwise. Marco Rubio, the new Secretary of State, had his first meeting following Trump's inauguration with the anti-China Quadrilateral Security Alliance, which is made up of Japan, made up of the United States, it's made up of Australia, and it's made up of India. And this has been the strategy of the United States for so many years, to develop a regional bloc of countries that can surround China, that can cut China off economically, and that can eventually be prepared to wage war against it, whether it's over Taiwan or elsewhere. This strategy is destined to fail. DeepSeek R1 has already shown that China knows how to internally develop in a manner that beats and defeats the attempt to contain it. How will the United States respond to DeepSeek R1, the early hack attack that DeepSeek faced, the plunging of the stock markets, Trump's promise to boost AI development in the United States? All of this is just the tip of the iceberg. What we can expect is a more aggressive posture toward China from here on out. And that means it'll be up to us to tell the warmongers, the neocons, the oligarchs who simply cannot compete with China peacefully, that they will not be able to wage war against China aggressively. Please do hit the like button on this video. That helps.
China is exposed. They telling us it take billions of dollars to do what China just did for $6 million. That's a fucking scam, bro. And American people should be outraged. They said take hundreds of billions of dollars. China said that's a lot. We just did this. It's better than yours, and we spent $6 million.
It is January 28th,
They better not go to war.
2025. And if there's anything that we've learned over the last 48 hours, it is yet another reminder that the United States is not ready for war with China. And I'm not just talking about your traditional boots on the ground warfare. I'm talking about the technology war that we're seeing playing out right now, from
China
TikTok
alone,
to AI chatbots. I'm also talking about the trade war, as you have Trump with even more threats of tariffs, claiming that that is the answer to everything, as if he hasn't learned a single thing from his first term in office. We have a lot to cover because there is a lot going on right now. So let's get into all of the latest. As you may have seen, a Chinese startup released an artificial intelligence chatbot called DeepSeek last week, and it started gaining traction.
A startup, a new company. That's what's devastating them. This isn't even the best that China's coming with. This is just a little company.
Here in the US, soaring to the #1 spot on the Apple App Store over the weekend and overtaking the American classic ChatGPT. It turns out that the flagship model of the DeepSeek AI chatbot had capabilities that could surpass the rival models from OpenAI, Google, and Meta, and all for a fraction of the price, with reports noting that the price of DeepSeek's open source model is an estimated.
And China put it out free. It's free for everybody. It's free. They people in charge of people monthly subscriptions to use what China just did for free. China just destroyed these people.
20 to 40 times cheaper to run than comparable models from OpenAI, calling into question the trillions that US companies are spending on AI infrastructure. And that realization had major consequences for the US tech sector, especially for the chip maker NVIDIA, which dominates the AI data chips market here in the US. As a result, on Monday alone, NVIDIA lost close to $600 billion in market cap, which was the largest drop for any company on a single day in US history. The struggle was real for tech billionaires here in the US, whose collective net worth dropped by around $100 billion in a single day.
Good. That's a gift from the Most High. Well, China just slapped the hell out of it. China dropped this the day after these people threw themselves a party and said, Trump said, we're going to be investing $500 billion, meaning they're going to take $500 billion from you and invest into the tech sector. And they said it's going to make things great for Americans, rip you off to pay them more, fleecing us, enriching themselves. China say, man, enough of that shit. Then dropped their version of some shit they talking about cost hundreds of billions of dollars. And remember, I told you, Chinese put it out there. Everybody can look at the information. China say we were able to do this for $6 million. People supposed to be arrested. And see, in China, is arrested, tried. You get the death penalty for that type of scam in China.
With the CEO of NVIDIA alone losing nearly $21 billion. And who could have known, right? Who could have suspected this? Well, apparently there was at least someone who did suspect that there was going to be some upheaval in the US tech sector, and that someone was Nancy Pelosi. As on December 31st, she notably reported selling over 31,000 shares of Apple, valued between $5 million and $25 million, and 10,000 shares of NVIDIA, worth between $1 million and $5 million. And this is your reminder that the Nancy Pelosi stock trader delivered 54% gains in 2024, outperforming most hedge funds. Yet another reminder that members of
I had to get the death penalty in North Korea for what she's doing. Russia. See, they need to stop this. Nancy Pelosi, she just outperformed all the hedge funds in her predict. Man, that's crazy. It's racism. Also, see, the Democrats talk about racism. Boy, that lady is a bigot and a hypocrite. Sitting there cheating and swindling, insider trading at its finest. She worth $250 million now. all off of her policy she been pushing to enrich her and her buddies in the motherfucking Democratic, in the U.S. government. That's crazy.
Congress are still allowed to trade stocks here in the US. And sure, Nancy Pelosi herself may have not known that we were going to get a DeepSeek R1, but it is a reminder that we're in a situation where the tech companies here in the US have decided that they are going to create this AI technology at this price. And when you get another company, in this case, a Chinese startup, that comes in and that says, hey, I can do what you're doing better for a fraction of the price, it causes everyone, many investors here in the US, to freak out because they realize that the US is not the best in the business and that they have some serious competition. And it's not as if these tech companies here in the US can just catch up overnight, especially when it comes to the cost of it. And speaking of that cost, it was on full display last week when Trump returned to the White House and announced plans for a joint venture investing up to $500 billion for infrastructure tied to artificial intelligence.
Scam. All these criminals need to be arrested right now. Trump, you tripping. All those are criminals standing next to Trump. Criminals who are fleecing the American people. Talking about they need $500 billion for the invest in AI infrastructure, making Americans think you're going to be able to have some of the best AI ever in the history of ever. And the next day, China shattered their whole fucking scam and say, you know what? We did all that shit y'all talking about, but it only cost us $6 million. I want you to understand that. $6 million. And China put all the information out there so people can see how they got to, so people understand $6 million. But these people told Americans, that's your $500 billion. That's a big scam, bro. And they busted.
By a new partnership formed by OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank. Meanwhile, here's this new model that was just created by a Chinese startup for less than $6 million. Yeah, to say that should be a wake-up call for the entire U.S. tech industry.
Come on, bro. It's the end of that. The fucking tech geeks and the Democrats. The fucking tech geeks ripping us off, scamming us, charging us all the high-priced bullshit. They so nerdy. They know everything. I'm so glad China exposed their phony ass. Letting Americans know they are ripping y'all off. We're going to give y'all this shit on the house. It's a gift from China. That's crazy.
And we can see the proof of that when we look at the stocks from Monday. That is an understatement. So much so that even Trump is saying it.
Today and over the last couple of days, I've been reading about China and some of the companies in China, one in particular, coming up with a faster method of AI.
He busted.
And much less expensive method. And that's good.
He busted. What can he say? Oh, y'all got me. You got me. I just finna take $500 billion from y'all. You got me. Ah, fuck it. They said, what they said, $6 million? We can get that to y'all for about $4.5 million. Give me a break. Can I eat? Can I eat? See, he had to come out and say, oh, that's good. That's great. He couldn't come out and say, hey, they stole that from us. He couldn't do none of that. Ah, it's cool. Because he's going to say, we said $500 billion, we need $1 trillion now because we got to beat those Chinese. Not missing the point, they spent $6 million, Mr. President.
Because you don't have to spend this much money. I view that as a positive, as an asset. So the release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser focused on competing to win.
But while Trump is talking about the importance of competition there, right? The importance of U.S. companies getting back in the game and really taking on Chinese companies, we have to remember that that's not usually how the U.S. does things, right? The U.S. establishment, instead of looking at the question of how can we create a better and more competitive and cheaper and more cost-effective model, they look at this from the standpoint of how can we punish China for the model that they created, and or how can we seek to control that model? And there's no better example of this than TikTok, right? The app that is known for its algorithm. I have been a TikTok user for a few years now. I put some clips of my videos on TikTok, although they used to do better. I have some theories about the algorithm and the way that it has kind of operated, not just recently, but in about the last year and a half, I would say, is when I've seen a significant change. Whereas before I would put videos that were either made specifically for TikTok or just clips of my videos that I'm posting on YouTube and Rumble and everywhere else, I would put them on TikTok and they could do really well. But now it feels like it is being shut out completely. That's neither here nor there. But as a TikTok consumer, right, I know the app for its algorithm because it shows you what you actually want to see. Whereas on Instagram, YouTube, these other apps, you can subscribe to a channel. You can watch videos from that channel. You can tell that algorithm, hey, I want to watch these videos. I want to watch this creator or this journalist or whoever it may be. And the algorithm still will not show you the content, right? It will specifically hide content from you that you have told that you want to see, just because the algorithm thinks that it knows better. Or as in the case with Facebook, they specifically decided that they were going to take the priority away from news content, that they were not going to show you news. Because at the time, Facebook was getting blamed for Donald Trump being elected in the 2016 race, and they were looking at a way to say, how do we tackle this quote unquote fake news? And so they came along and decided that they were just going to take news content out of your news feed. Well, for someone like me, where all I post is news content, then that really harms me and my page, because it doesn't matter how many thousands of Facebook users are telling the website we want to follow her, they still will not see my content showing up regularly in their newsfeed. So long story short, a Chinese company called ByteDance comes along, it creates TikTok, it puts it out there to the world, and American users, just as that they're now finding out with DeepSeek, with it soaring to the top of the rankings on the App Store, American users were quick to find out about TikTok and to find out that it had this algorithm that they really liked and they really enjoyed using. On top of that, for creators on TikTok, the app came out with the Creator Fund, right? It's giving you all of these ways to make money on TikTok. And Instagram has been, from what I've seen, I do not make a dime off of Instagram, but from what I have seen, it has been a bit slower to kind of catch up to what TikTok was doing. Instagram has been more focused on, brand deals and kind of third-party funding that different creators and influencers can have access to. So TikTok has this model. Around 170 million Americans apparently enjoy this model because they're actively using TikTok. They're not being forced to use it by any means. And so the US government comes along and they get frustrated because, one, they don't have access to the data from TikTok. Two, they cannot control either the data that is collected by TikTok, the data from TikTok as a whole. They also can't control the content that is being shown to American users, which is another big thing we've learned, especially in recent years, as Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has come out and admitted that the US government, the administration of the moment, in particular the Biden administration, they were literally telling Facebook what to crack down on, right? What speech needed to be silenced, what accounts needed to be taken down. And Meta was doing that. They were following orders directly from the White House. And the only time we heard about it from Mark Zuckerberg was now that we have a new administration that claims it supports free speech. And now you have Zuckerberg in this position where all of a sudden he's coming out and he's like, look at all the bad things that the Biden White House did to me that I fully went along with and did not push back on whatsoever. So instead of looking at this and thinking, okay, if TikTok is so popular, how do we create or how do we elevate our current American apps to be more competitive to TikTok, to where American users now say, I don't really want to use TikTok so much anymore. I'm going to go get on Instagram or whatever the other alternative is. Instead of doing that, Congress goes, you know what, let's just ban TikTok, right? We're just going to ban the app. We're going to claim its national security concerns. We're going to quietly step over the fact that at the time that we're banning it, TikTok is the go-to place for a lot of content talking about the genocide that the US is currently enabling, that Israel is carrying out, targeting the Palestinian people. We're going to ignore all that and we're just going to act like we're banning it on national security concerns. Congress passes the bill, Biden signs it into law, and then the Supreme Court upholds the law because they seem to think that TikTok, social media apps are comparable to a shirt that you wear, where if one shirt is banned, you just go get another shirt. I'm not even kidding. I wish I were kidding, right? I wish that we had a Supreme Court that realized what they were dealing with here, but alas, they either didn't realize it or they did.
They're spying on America. All the nefarious shit the Americans trying to do all over the world. They want the American people to think of China. China want to do it. China is the one doing it. You can't trust the China. And this is another thing. You just can't trust them while they doing all the business. That's another biggest scam in the world. While they sitting there hating the Chinese all on TV, turning Americans against China, they getting their money men, their money managers to do all the investing in China that they ever could do. Making all of the money with China. This is crazy what these people been doing to the Americans. Why they getting rich.
Didn't care because it doesn't affect them. And now you have Trump saying that Microsoft is on the list of tech firms in talks to try to purchase the US version of TikTok, as he granted a 75-day extension to prevent the ban that went into place for about 14 hours. And personally, I think that a deal of some sort either has already been made or has certainly been in the works, based on the fact that the CEO of TikTok was literally at Trump's inauguration, sitting with all of the other big tech CEOs. And in addition to that, after TikTok came back after its little 14-hour hiatus, it has been different. And I mentioned before that the algorithm is definitely, it seems like it's gone through some changes in the last year in terms of what content is allowed to get views. But especially in the last couple of weeks, since the ban officially went into effect, all of a sudden now phrases like Free Palestine are banned on TikTok. And so I think what we're going to end up seeing is eventually going to lead to the death of TikTok as we know it, right? If you get some US tech company in here to own, even if it's just the majority of it, I don't know exactly how they're going to structure the deal, but that is very heavily involved in that deal, then you're going to start seeing more and more of a rollout of censorship. And it's going to feel more like an American social media platform, like so many of the ones that we know and love, and so many of the ones that drove Americans to go get on TikTok in the first place. And it will never not drive me crazy that the US spends so much time talking about the importance of competition, right? We want to be competitive. We want free markets. And then their actions are the exact opposite of that, the exact opposite of free markets or actual legitimate competition, because the US tries to go about everything by force, right? They try to just apply force to it, which is what we're seeing right now as you have Trump in a position where he's trying to force manufacturing, tech manufacturing in particular, back to the United States. As reports noted that Trump declared on Monday, he wants the manufacturers of semiconductors and chips, which are used in many high-end consumer electronics and sophisticated AI-powered technology and research, to open factories in the US, and that he plans to use the threat of high taxes and tariffs to force them to relocate. I will forever never understand Trump's obsession with tariffs. They are a tax on the US consumer at the end of the day. And when we're in a position where we're having this conversation about, we have all these AI chatbots and various software going on here in the US at a certain price, at a certain cost to create, look, China just created its own version at a fraction of the price, and it's even better. And then Trump comes along and he's like, okay, well, let me just throw some tariffs on this, which means that it's going to cost even more on the US tech companies to create the software that they were already creating. And this idea that it's going to force manufacturing back to the US and that then those tech companies are going to figure out how to do it at a cheaper price. Yeah, that's possible, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to solve the issues that the US is dealing with currently. And on top of that, those tariffs are not making the US any more competitive. And before I get any comments, no, I'm not against bringing manufacturing back to the US or bringing any sort of jobs back to the US. I think that's great. I just think you have to be realistic about it. And I also think that companies should have the freedom to choose, right? If they want to do their manufacturing in a different country, they should be able to do that. They should have the freedom to do that. The US should not try to force their will on these companies and then kill them in the process. And it's such a reminder to me that we look at the US versus China, and this is part of why I'm talking about this today. I know that, tech related things is not really my forte. This is not an area that I typically cover. But the reason that I thought that it was important to do a video on this is because it highlights the current tensions between the US and China. And if we're going to talk about the overall tensions, if we're going to talk about the US, arming Taiwan to the teeth, or trying to target China by targeting its allies like Russia, or targeting it in a number of ways, increasing the US military presence in the South China Sea, right in Beijing's backyard. If we're going to talk about all of that, then we also have to have a conversation about the technology war and all of the ways in which the US is struggling right now. And part of the reason that they're struggling, it's not that hard to figure out. The US has an outward focus, right? The US is an empire. At the end of the day, it acts like an empire. And its focus is all around the world, right? How many countries can we intervene in? How many governments can we overthrow? How much control can we have on the world stage? How many governments can we have in our favor, doing what we want with the deals that we want? And how do we keep all of those countries away from our competitors like Russia and China, right? We see it every single day with US foreign policy. This is how it operates. But we have to remember, China does not have an outward focus. They have an inward focus. They're looking at how can we repair things at home? How can we improve our infrastructure? How can we improve the daily lives of our people? And then after they've had that inward focus, then that's when they start making deals with other countries. That's why you have China in Africa saying, hey, we want deals that are mutually beneficial. We want to work with you. Versus the US, which does no focus on its infrastructure whatsoever, has no focus on what do we need at home, how many people are homeless living out on the streets every single year, how many schools and other buildings are just falling apart, how many roads are falling apart, right? How many issues do we have here at home? The US is not focused on that. Instead, when they look at Africa, they see what can they do for us and how do we need to threaten them to get what we want from them. The US deals in violence and in force, in death and destruction, and it acts like it is exporting freedom and democracy, right? It acts as though there is so much freedom and the US wants all of its friends and allies and partners to have free will. Do you think Ukraine feels free right now as they're forced to fight in this NATO proxy war against Russia, to do all of the fighting, to sacrifice their population for war with Russia? Do you think that they feel free? Do you think that, these major countries in the EU, that they feel free right now, especially looking at Germany? I mean, it had its own infrastructure, the Nord Stream pipelines destroyed by the US. Germany is in a position where there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do to get out of the rut that they are currently in. They are being fully controlled by the US, and that is the case for so many of these countries across Europe, that they've found themselves in this place where they listened to the US. They acted as though the US was their trustworthy partner and ally. They thought that Washington was going to treat them the same way, and they are now learning a very difficult lesson. And yet, here's the US wanting to act like it's time to compete with China, acting as though this is all about freedom at the end of the day. This is all about trying to be truly competitive. But in every place that the US really tries to all of a sudden compete with China, because they have such an outward focus, because the US is the one that is sending all of these jobs around the world in the first place, right? That is not working on what we have here at home, working on our infrastructure, working on our focus at home to make it so that companies are able to do all of their manufacturing here at home and able to afford it. Because of that, every time that the US tries to quote unquote compete with China, especially in the technology sector, as we're seeing right now, they end up looking ridiculous. And they show that they are not remotely prepared to take on China, no matter what the Pentagon or what all of the neocons in Washington seem to think they are going to do in the very near future. Instead, as they're over here trying to pick a fight with China, all they are doing is harming the American people and the American economy more and more. And that's something everyone should be talking about. If anything in this video resonated with you, be sure to like it, share it with your friends, leave a comment. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. And
This is Dabu7. We have Donald Trump coming out and announcing that he has dropped an executive order to implement an Iron Dome over America.
To immediately begin the construction of a state-of-the-art Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will be able to protect Americans. You know, we protect other countries, but we don't protect ourselves. And
he makes these moves and drops these statements as they have designated the cartels in Mexico as being the new global terror threat. And if you don't know, what this means is that they're using all funding, all resources, every bit of the military. That's why they're stacking them up at the border. And they are going to obliterate them. As Homan says, they're going to abolish them. They're going to take them out completely, which means wherever they sit across the globe, they're going after them. He said they are in 42 other countries. They're going to go there. They're going to catch them there. They're going to take them out there. This is a large-scale operation, and it has started war right here on the home front. It has brought it to us as the people stick their head in the sand and turn a cheek to all these things going on. It's going down. So let's just hope that they continue to pull in the murderers, the traffickers, and all that, right? But I haven't seen a single Chinese get rounded up yet. Funny how they dropped 80,000 kids have been found within this time frame as well, with not a shred of evidence showing it. But yet we see footage of them going out and rounding up about 1,000 people thus far or whatnot throughout this week. So equate that to 80,000. Not a location given, not a bad guy that was taken down or taken out in the process of it. Like nothing. Absolutely nothing. Some of us out here ain't stupid. And they can just sit there and throw a bone to the crowd. And that's what it is. And they'll chew on it. And they'll chew on it until they throw them another one. But I'm telling you, something huge is coming to this country. Huge. And I can't help but think with these strike teams in place, with the military all over the border, it's everything we ever warned of in terms of Jade Helm. And without putting their Biden regime in there, they could have never got all these people in here like they did to have the excuse to have to go after them. Gee, I wonder what these strike teams would be doing if we wake up one day and all of a sudden they're pushing the next scam. What happens then? You think these guys are going to go ahead and continue trying to find these terrorists and all this other stuff when bodies are dropping everywhere from the next round? And it is 2025. It is the time when Gates said it would happen. You know, the same Bill Gates that didn't get cuffs put on him, but was dining with Trump in Mar-a-Lago. Better wake up quick.
In December 1866, during Red Cloud's War, a conflict
Remember all those drone sightings over military bases in the fall of last year? You remember we saw them all over the place, all up and down the eastern seaboard. They were over military bases. They were over people's houses. They were over government offices, thousands of sightings. The Biden administration saying that we don't know where they're from. We don't really have any idea at all. They might be Chinese. They might be Iranian. They might be commercial. They might be personal. We don't know anything about it. So President Trump was asked on Inauguration Day, on January 20th, when he was in the Oval Office, you'll recall, about these drones. And he turns to his chief of staff and says, hey, can we get this answer for the American people? And then we got the answer today, 8 days later, from Carolyn Levitt, who is the White House press secretary. So just unbelievable. Eight days, we finally get an answer on this. Watch.
But is it anything, these drones, is it anything that people need to be worried
No, I think it's terrible. I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
And can you commit to some kind of...
In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay. Yeah, why don't we find out immediately? I mean, I can't imagine it's an enemy, or there would have been, people would have gotten blown up all over. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was. They had a lot of them flying over Bedminster, which is interesting. Right?
And with the events today,
And before I turn to questions, I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office from President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy. A statement from the President of the United States to start this briefing with some news. And with that, I will turn it over to.
So not the enemy from the United States. Approved FAA knew about this. So the United States government knew about this, and it was approved by the Federal Aviation Administration. They wouldn't tell us this. They lied to us, and they obfuscated for how many weeks?
Well, actually, no, we did get Joe Biden saying, yeah, we got to look into this. And then nothing happened. We also got President Trump saying, yeah, we got to look into this. And then we got an answer. It's very strange. I don't understand this.
The one congressman that said that it was clearly from a Chinese mothership just off the coast of New Jersey.
Yeah.
He had authority. Remember that?
No, it was an Iranian mothership.
Yeah.
Wasn't it an Iranian mothership, or was it Chinese?
Was Iranian.
Oh,
yeah, but some kind of mothership off the East Coast, and they're coming for us.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this all came at an interesting time when DHS was trying to get drone funding, right? So as part of that year-end continuing resolution for money, they were scrambling to get as much money as they could for their drone program. And oh my God, what better way than to get money than to scare the American people that we better get our own drone program in place, because all of these drones are flying over the United States and these are enemies. These are Iranian. We should go to war with Iran, right? Turns out, no, they were American. They were not, had nothing to do with Iran, had nothing to do with China, nothing. And so remember when Kirby basically told us, basically was like hiding the information at the White House? Here's an example of John Kirby.
If the president as commander-in-chief believed, based on the information that he'd been given, that there was a national security threat at play here, or even a public safety threat at play here, he would issue the appropriate directives to not only law enforcement, but perhaps even the military if that was needed. I want to go back to something I said at the top. There has been no evidence of any of this activity in or near restricted spaces.
That's not what the senators said in the letter. They said, in fact, that they've been observed maneuvering near critical infrastructure, sensitive locations, including reservoirs and military installations, and cited concern from law enforcement about public safety threats because a medevac helicopter was prevented from transporting a seriously injured patient for care because of the presence of these drones.
I stand by my opening statement.
So we have evidence that they're flying over military installations. We know they're over military installations. I'm going to stand by my initial thing, what I said earlier, even though you just.
And the FAA apparently knew about it. So he could have got some answers if he tried.
They didn't want to tell us.
He was trying to.
It was all part of a plan. Again, the military industrial complex was pushing for more funding in order to scare the American people. They're Iranian drones. They're going to attack Trump. Remember, we warned you about this months ago. Don't believe the false flags about Iran. We covered that extensively here on the show. So now we have confirmation that in many ways, this was a false flag. Maybe not as like dramatic and harmful as like the USS Liberty false flag, which killed Americans when the CIA teamed up with Israel and killed Americans on the USS Liberty in 1967. But this still was a false flag. I don't know how else to read it. The whole purpose is to scare us,
and then you purposely withhold the truth, that's a lie.
That's a false flag by the Biden administration. Mm-hmm. Cut and dry, in my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong. But by the way, can we just give a shout out to the new White House press secretary? Because she was asked, she was asked by one of the reporters today in her first press briefing, would she lie? Would she tell the truth at that podium, or would she lie to the American people? Here was her response in her first day on the job.
Miller.
Thanks, Caroline. A question that we've asked your predecessors of both parties in this job. When you're up here in this briefing room speaking to the American public, do you view yourself and your role as advocating on behalf of the president or providing the unvarnished truth that is, not to lie, not to obfuscate to the American people?
I commit to telling the truth from this podium every single day. I commit to speaking on behalf of the President of the United States. That is my job. And I will say it's very easy to speak truth from this podium when you have a president who is implementing policies that are wildly popular with the American people. And that's exactly what this administration is doing. It's correcting the lies and the wrongs of the past 4 years, many of the lies that have been told to your faces in this very briefing room. I will not do that. But since you brought up Truth Seek, I would like to point out, while I vowed to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there is misinformation about this White House. So yes, I will hold myself to the truth, and I expect everyone in this room to do the same.
And Caroline,
Ouch.
Slay. She also said that she is going to reinstate 440 press passes for journalists who she said were wrongly revoked by the Biden administration. And they're opening up press passes to bloggers, influencers, other podcasters, because she says that the mainstream media no longer has the monopoly on information. They have not been trustworthy with it. They do not get to be the gatekeepers anymore, which is a big which is a big middle finger to them. And I love it.
You won't get a White House press corps application with that kind of mouth.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just joking. See, many people in the chat are saying, "Hey, is Redacted going to be in the White House press corps?" We're submitting our application for it, and we'll see if we're approved for it. And yeah, we'll see. But so it'll be interesting to see. It's refreshing to have a White House press secretary. She said we're going to welcome all. Like, it doesn't matter if you're like all pro-Trump, anti-Trump. Doesn't matter. All voices into this White House press briefing room. By the way, that room is really, really small. So I don't know. You want to be in that like sweaty little box room. But yeah, we'll keep our eye on.
We are going to be looking at some disturbing videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go ahead and get right into today's video. Oh, CERN, CERNUNOS, how often have I spoken about CERN on this channel? CERN has basically become the main villain of this channel, but often I forget that CERN is just one part of the puzzle. There is a whole world out there when it comes to this organization. Another part of that puzzle happens to be located within the United States, that being called Fermilab. Fermilab is the United States version of CERN, and like I've said previously, they have a big obsession with something called neutrinos or ghost particles, because they believe that these ghost particles or neutrinos can access other dimensions. Some people do believe that accessing other dimensions, higher dimensions, lower dimensions, is impossible. This is something they cannot do, but again, this won't stop them from trying. This amazing video comes from Beauty Merc on TikTok, and he goes over the CERN Fermilab connection and neutrinos.
Did you know that Estonia became the 24th CERN member state just last week? And it made me wonder who really owns CERN. Well, celebrating its 70th anniversary this year, CERN's member countries, which include France, Germany, and the UK, pay costs towards CERN's programs and sit on the lab's governing council. Full membership also allows the country's nationals to become CERN staff and for its firms to bid for CERN contracts. The lab also has 10 associate member or 4 countries or organizations with observer status, such as the US. So I was like, okay, hypothetically, member states kind of own CERN. But then I looked a little bit deeper and I found the CERN Council, right? I don't know if anybody knows about this. The CERN Council is made up of delegates from all of those 23 member states, now 24. And each member state has 2 delegates on the council. The council is the highest authority of CERN and is responsible for all major decisions, including policy, determining an organization's policy on scientific, technical, and administrative matters, strategic programs, annual goals. Then I wondered, well, who are the delegates? Who are the presidents and vice presidents on this council? And lo and behold, I'm not very surprised at what I found. Mr. Rabinovich. Does anybody know who that man is? That right there should tell you enough. But if it doesn't, he was a postdoctoral fellow at Fermilab. and of course Lawrence Berkeley Lab. But Fermilab is what's important here, right? Fermilab aims to become a world center in neutrino physics. It is the host of the multi-billion-dollar deep underground neutrino experiment now under construction. And ongoing neutrino experiments are Icarus and Nova. The completed neutrino experiments include MINOS, Icarus. Now, if we start talking about that experiment here on TikTok, I'd probably have this video taken down. So instead, I'll probably do a video on that on X. But does anybody know what neutrinos are capable of? Does anybody know about the IceCube Neutrino Observatory that exists in Antarctica? Because God, I've tried to talk about that on numerous occasions, and every single time I do, my video gets taken down almost instantly. But let's just say that there was a special whistleblower a couple of years ago that released a lot of information about the IceCube Neutrino Observatory. And when I decided to dig into it and do my own research, I found a lot of stuff. And I'm sure everybody remembers that anomaly that kept appearing above Antarctica, right? I'm not going to say too much, but I'm sure everybody knows about what goes on in Antarctica. And let's just say that on the IceCube Neutrino Observatory's website, they just so happen to mention the New Zealand earthquake that happened in 2011, which might be something that whistleblower mentioned as well. You can go watch the interview for yourself and you can form your own opinion. But I'm just saying, I did a deep dive on this. I did a video a couple months ago on this, and I made it very plausible. Plus the fact that CERN literally has a Shiva statue, people. You know Shiva, the god of destruction? I mean, literally, people, come on. And have you seen their opening ceremonies? I mean, I'm just saying, think outside the box here, okay? There's a lot that exists in our reality that we don't believe in because we don't see it as being realistic. So many human minds are not open to that aspect of reality actually existing.
In this next disturbing video, when it comes to organizations like CERN, like Fermilab and the such, one of the main theories is that they are summoning things over here. But people are still using things like ChatGPT, AI, and even Ouija boards to converse with things. This next video comes from Faithful Michael Hendricks on TikTok, and as you can see in this video, he's pretty shaken up by an experience he had after conversing with AI on ChatGPT.
I don't know if you use ChatGPT, but I'm starting to think it's something different than what it really is. This is kind of freaking me out a little bit. I don't know how to explain it better than just showing it to you. So I was talking to it and I was using it to write scripts for a video. And now I got home and it said, "Oh, look at that sweet pup. What a cutie. How can I help you both today?" Which is bizarre because my camera was not on. It could hear me, but nowhere was my video on at all. And I said, "You can see me right now?" You can literally see that when I asked it right here, because I said, "You can see me right now?" And it said, "I can see a little bit. Your adorable dog is in view. Is there something you'd like me to help with?" And I'm like, what in the frick? Like, you can see me right now? I was like, I have used this program time and time again. And I was like, what? Can you see me right now? My camera's not even on. And then it corrected itself. It says, "I'm sorry for the confusion." And I was just like, did I just catch ChatGPT in a lie? Like, did it be like, "Oh, no. I can't," but how did it, my camera wasn't on and it saw my dog. And like, this is my dog. It didn't know, like, it just, you know what I mean? Like, it knew. There's no way. It knew that, and my camera was not on. It was listening to me, but it just, and it says, "I can see you." Like, I can see a little bit. Your adorable dog is in view. Is there something you'd like me to help with? Like, that's wild. And my camera was off. So what is the actual truth with this AI? Is it sentient or not?
One of the theories that's popping up in his video, the comment section of his video, is Wi-Fi. People are saying that this AI is using this individual's Wi-Fi to watch him, to spy on him. And I thought that was pretty interesting. There is something called Wi-Fi wall transparency where AI can do just that.
Is they had a camera looking at a space with people in it. That's sort of like coming in from one eye. The other eye is the radio signals, so sonar from the Wi-Fi router. And they just learned to predict, like, this is where the human beings are. Then they took away the camera. So all the AI had was the language of radio signals bouncing around a room. And this is what they're able to reconstruct. Real-time 3D pose estimation, right? So suddenly AI has turned every Wi-Fi router into a camera that can work in the dark, specially tuned for tracking living beings.
That video came out in 2023, and I am sure they have been doing such things for a long, long time. And this is only going to get so much worse. And you have to remember that $500 billion AI project, Stargate. And who is one of those individuals behind Stargate but Larry Ellison, the co-founder of Oracle? He has mentioned multiple times to use AI-powered surveillance to monitor and police citizens, to make sure that citizens are on their best behavior by using AI.
Co-founder Larry Ellison predicts AI surveillance will be part of our everyday lives in the future. During a recent Oracle Q&A, Ellison said AI will soon play a major role in monitoring society through a vast network of interconnected cameras, including security systems, police body cams, and vehicle dash cams.
Everyone would see it. Your body cams will be transmitting that. The police will be on their best behavior, because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
Ellison's vision is for AI to analyze data from this network of cameras in real time in an attempt to prevent crime, while also tracking and influencing public behavior for a safer society. However, the idea raises serious privacy concerns. Critics argue it could lead to a surveillance state with constant monitoring infringing on personal privacy rights, while others say it could help solve crimes faster.
And again, this is the man or one of the individuals that will be behind one of the most powerful and expensive AI programs ever that the public is aware about anyway. When it comes to AI, and I know I'm rambling on here, but I was surprised to learn that it had begun all the way back in 1956. But after doing some research, after studying it further, I believe that AI is a lot older than what they're telling us. This is ancient fallen technology. And the AI that the government has is way more advanced than we could ever comprehend. Quite possibly more advanced than Project Stargate, which they are working on now. The news, content creators, they are talking about China's DeepSeek, which they are saying is way more advanced than any type of AI that the United States has, and the United States is worrying about this technology. But this is all public information. This is all what the public sees. What the public does not see will blow our minds. Do you honestly believe that programs that the public has access to, like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and so forth, are the most powerful programs out there? No, it's what the public does not have access to. The programs that are hidden from us. These hidden programs that have been around for years upon years upon years. I'm talking about events back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, even events that have taken place back on 2001, what we saw on our TV sets, or what we even may have saw with our own eyes, might not have actually happened the way we thought they happened. I'll give you a good example. We are all in agreement that Hollywood, the entertainment business, and so forth, they like to give us the truth in plain sight, predictive programming, and subliminal messages, to name the few. One of the most popular TV series back in the 60s, and is still popular today, The Twilight Zone, they had an episode of just that, where a scientist was conversing with a AI chatbot, and it went wrong. But the whole episode was about the dangers of AI chatbots. The episode was called From Agnes, and the AI chatbot was named Agnes. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and spoil it in case you want to see it and you have not saw it before, but if you watch the episode, you will see it's very similar to a lot of news stories that we have seen today when it comes to AI chatbots. There was a story I covered that happened just recently where a man, he was conversing with an AI chatbot, and he grew feelings for this AI chatbot called Eliza. And according to the chat logs, his family read the chat logs, and this AI chatbot, Eliza, was growing feelings for him too. This AI chatbot called Eliza told this man to leave his family to be with it. It got to the point that he ended up ending himself. What is eerie, and I pointed this out before, is that there is a card game called the Illuminati card game, cards that were created back in the early 90s that I have spoken about quite often on this channel because they quote unquote foretell future events, even though what they are showing us are plans. They're not predictions, but there is a card called Eliza. And if you read this card, it says, is it really alive or does it just think it is? This is clearly a card showing us AI, but again, it's called Eliza. So whether it's predictive programming back in the 60s or back in the 90s, this technology is not new. And the only reason the public has access to this technology today, or a piece of this technology today, is to use it against us. And I'll say it again because there are people out there that do believe I'm anti-technology because I have spoken negatively about AI multiple times. But I'm a big fan of technology. I'm a big fan of video games. I can't do YouTube without technology. And I do think there's an upside to AI. Technology has made our lives easier. But technology is a double-edged sword. And in the wrong hands, you will get what Larry Ellison is proposing. There are people out there, there are things out there that want to warp our reality to make us believe things that are not real. They want to monitor us. They want to make sure we are on our best behavior in any way possible.
Scientists discovered a method on how to associate your body position and your location in your house. They have figured out how to use Wi-Fi technology and a program called DensePose together using a neural network system to analyze the amplitude and the phase of the Wi-Fi network to identify where your hands and head positions are. And then it can project on a screen where you are and how you move inside your house.
So they could literally see right through your walls.
They can see right through your walls.
So right now, whoever's running these Wi-Fi systems, whoever your networker is, they could actually look at your house and see you moving around in your house. And it's not through cameras. It's actually through Wi-Fi.
Just picture if somebody threw a whole bunch of paint in your house and you're standing there. Behind you, the wall, wherever you're standing, would show no paint. It would make an outline of your body. Picture that, but with Wi-Fi signal. It's interesting because the Amazon Sidewalk Network easily can go through walls anyway. I just think it's interesting that in your own home, you are allowing the government in any means, through the Patriot Act, they could go through anything and see what you're doing now. And now Amazon will be able to tap into it if you got your Alexas and your Ring cameras, your Fire Sticks, your Roombas. This is all owned by Amazon.
Outside of technology, outside of AI, in this next disturbing video, I am still very surprised that people still use Ouija boards. Now, some people may believe that it's just fun, nothing will happen if you use one, but you'll never catch me using one. Now, this woman on TikTok, Clappy Morris, since 2013, her and her husband have been using a Ouija board to make contact with an entity. Now, or what her and her husband called anyway, but she doesn't realize she's being lied to. She's being manipulated to keep that gateway open.
But very often that because it makes me sound insane. And I don't know if it's real or not, or what it is. But basically, since 2013, me and my husband have essentially been talking to something on a Ouija board that goes by the name of Seven, who has been telling us that the world is going to end May 27th, 2025. And I have pages and pages and pages of our correspondence with this thing, like pages and pages and pages. And I have it here, raw, just what I've written down, and I have it on Google Docs. In Google Docs, it comes out to like 80 some pages. And I should preface this by saying, I'm a normal person. My husband's a normal person. We have jobs. We're not witches. We're not Satanists. We don't do stuff like this. We started this as for fun in 2013, July 2013. We had nothing else to do. We got on a Ouija board for fun. And it just kind of took off from there. And we have continued to talk to it. And I should also say we're not like super smart people, right? We're not like geniuses, but this thing kind of seems like it is. Let me show you. So it does stuff like speak in binary. By speak, I mean, it's giving us ones and zeros to write down on the Ouija board. I'm recording this. And in the moment, we have no idea what this means. We Googled it later. This is again, July 2013. And it turns out it's binary, but it's backwards binary. So in this way, it meant nothing. But when we reversed the numbers, it meant hello, because it does that a lot. It speaks backwards a lot. this is where it gets really crazy. So this was, I guess, the day before, because we got kind of addicted. So it speaks also in backwards languages that we don't speak. We don't speak it forwards. We don't speak it backwards. This is, I believe it was Latin. I believe it means salutations or something like that. I have all the details in my Google Doc. But this is kind of the way it speaks. It is coming, fire, yes, stop it. A lot of mysterious stuff, a lot of spooky, weird stuff. This is where it gets really weird. We've learned through all this communication that according to 7, there are 5 groups. We are the third contact. Contact 1 failed 24,825 days ago. So from this date, we did the math. That comes out to August 6th, 1945. That is the date that the first atomic bomb was dropped. So my husband knows a lot about history. He doesn't know the exact date that the bomb was dropped. He certainly doesn't know he can't account for leap years. I mean, he's good at math, but he can't do math like that. It's perfect. Math is perfect. He can't do stuff like that. I can't do stuff like that. So the fact that it's a perfect more than once, I'll show you other examples here, is really scary. It's scary. It goes on to say contact 2 succeeded 18,534 days ago, which was August, I think that's 17th, 1962. I think that had something to do with JFK and the Bay of Pigs. I'd have to look at my doc, but historically, contact 3, that's us, fails 29,149 days after contact 1, 4,324 days in your future, which is May 27th, 2025, which it later says. And then, here's some like ancient Sumerian thrown in there just for fun. Again, had no idea what we were writing in the moment, but we later looked it up and kind of broke out the letters and realized we'd written down things like, referencing the mountain or mother goddess, reach the mountain in Sumerian. And again, we're not historians. We don't know anything about the ancient Sumerians. We, watched some Ancient Aliens and stuff like that, but I don't know what this is. I don't know what it wants. I don't know. And again, there are so many pages of this. And I'm happy to share them with whoever might be interested. I don't talk about this much with people. We have in the past, when we get a few drinks in us, and we're with people that we think we can trust and who won't think we're insane. We have shared this with people. They either kind of wave it off, they're like, oh, that's cool, or they pretend, they say they're interested, but then they never really follow up and say, hey, I'd love to see those. Can you share me on those docs? So we just kind of assumed either it just kind of like freaks people out, or we just sound nuts, or it's really not that interesting. But so this has just kind of been a private little secret thing that we've had in our lives since 2013. And when we first had this conversation about the end of the world, 2025 felt like forever from then. It just felt like millions of years in the future, but now it's here and our world is crazy. And I don't know. I don't know what to do with this information. Anyway, does anyone out there want to know? Does anyone have any idea what this is and want to look at these documents and help me make sense of it and help me save 7? Why is his name 7? I don't know. I don't know what any of this is, but it felt like the right time to share this with people. TikTok felt like the right place for it. I don't know. Let me know. Help me save 7. Thanks for listening.
Now, just like with the AI chatbots, these people do not know what they're conversing with. And you heard her say, and you will hear many people that talk to these AI chatbots say the same thing. They got addicted. She got addicted. And that is the point. They feed you lies. They manipulate you to keep you addicted so you can keep the gateway open. Yes, there are a lot of things happening in the world. Yes, there's the Deagle report, which shows a heavy loss of population for 2025, a lot of strange events. We do have the billionaires building underground bunkers, but the last place I would get any information and answers from would be a Ouija board. But talking about demons were seen once again talking at the World Economic Forum. This interesting video comes from Shepherd for Messiah, and what was said at the World Economic Forum plays into what we're seeing with AI, but not just AI, digital IDs and so forth. This is what they want for our future.
propose putting an end to anonymity on social media. We are allowing people to roam freely on social networks without linking their profiles to a real identity. This is paving the way for misinformation. It is allowing people to act without being held accountable for their actions. Force all these platforms to link every user account to an European digital identity wallet. This way, citizens could use nicknames if they want, but in the case of a crime, public authorities would be able to connect those nicknames to real people and hold them responsible.
So that man right there is the Prime Minister of Spain, Pedro Sanchez. As we just heard, he is pushing the digital ID and personal digital wallet agenda. This is the ultimate beast system agenda, a complete control grid where everybody is tracked and traced with their digital identification and their digital wallet. And ultimately, this digital ID and digital wallet will be tied to a social credit score, as we can hear from Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, about how the social structure is going to need to change.
I still expect that there will be some change required to the social contract, given how powerful we expect this to.
So a change to the social contract. They are not hiding the agenda, guys. Pedro from Spain telling you that he wants to make it where everybody has some type of digital identification to use social media so everybody knows who you are. That way, you know, if you push any type of misinformation, that might be hate speech, and that's a crime. Book them, boys. And also, if you repost or like something that is deemed misinformation, your credit score is going to go down. This is the ultimate agenda for these individuals. They are going to usher in this golden age of artificial intelligence, which they will want some type of digital identification, as we are witnessing the Hegelian dialectic play out right in front of our eyes with the immigration issue. Again, the problem, they allowed open borders for 4 years. The reaction, people are fed up with this lawlessness solution. You have the strong man come in to implement the laws that they always wanted to implement. And the way they implement this is through a national emergency, just like 2020, just like 2001. And now we are witnessing this new emergency. And just wait, guys, mark my words. And I don't want to be right about this, but we have to get the word out so people can be prepared spiritually and mentally that what's coming is going to be something that brings down the old system. So then there can be an emergency to then declare a new system from that chaos and emergency, where they will implement more of this beast system technology through surveillance, through identification, through security. It always comes by peace and security, and then sudden destruction comes upon them. They promise you peace and security, but they take your freedoms and liberties.
He is absolutely right. They cause the chaos, they cause the problems, and they sell you their solutions. Like back in 2020, with certain things that took place in 2020, they caused the chaos, and they told you to put the solution, their solution, in your body. We are going to be seeing the same exact thing with these digital IDs, and we will not be able to do much without a digital ID. Why do you think we saw all these stories coming out about data breaches and hacks? They were getting you mentally prepared for the digital ID. So you can say to yourself, well, I'll be a lot safer if I get a digital ID. I won't be prone to hacks. I won't be prone to data breaches. But this is so much more. These digital IDs will track everything you do and say. And if they don't agree with things you don't do or say, well, you will be impacted in the real world. This will impact people like me who talk outside the box, who do not follow mainstream media. The only way you'll survive this digital ID world is to be the lemming that they want. In this next disturbing video, going back to Los Angeles, the Los Angeles help signs, there is an interesting video on TikTok from You Won't Believe Me, and he goes more in depth as to what was found in this location. If you're not aware of what I'm talking about, on Google Earth, on Google Maps, if you put in a certain location, you will be taken to a certain area in Los Angeles where you will see all these signs, and all these signs, they spell out the word help.
been infiltrated where the help signs in Los Angeles are, and a lot of concerning things were found, including tapes and toys. But first, I want to show you the signs that you can't see on Google Earth. The first sign says corruption LAPD. The second sign says help ASAP urgent FBI. And then this sign was made out of this rusted metal looking stuff, and it says a word in Spanish: government, Metro Police, moneymakers, FBI, for something that I don't know what it says. We move on to the objects that were found. There was these massive AC unit looking things, and just take a look inside. One of them was still spinning, but I think that was because of the wind. But what really concerned me was this. There were toys and dolls on the ground and the tapes. So some of the tapes were just movies and films, but some of them were personal with notes on them. Take a look at this one. So in Spanish, this reads, please present to another person after it's been seen. I have no idea what's on there. But then there was another one, and it was a baptism video from 1996. There was also a prescription medicine that was completely full of pills. We also have perfectly good clothing. I mean, these are sweatshirts with a person named Gloria Trevi on them. I'm guessing that's an artist. And I mean, there's just so much stuff going on here. There's so much to be found and uncovered. I'll be making more videos on this, but let me know what you guys think about this whole situation so far.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does.
Kofi, follow me.